Welcome to our Rolemaster Actual play session. Ain't no place for a hero is a campaign set in the world of Duranarki, the continent of men. A gritty, cutthroat world where politics, sorcery, religion, and commerce are all intertwined and reign supreme. Treachery and murder both come cheap, and characters need to be both smart and ruthless to survive. We hope you enjoy our story, and, as always, may the dice roll in your favor.
This is episode 121 of Ain't No Place for a Hero. The party have decided that ensuring their friend Karios is revived and healed is their first priority, and they have just completed this goal. We pick up the story in the dismal free city of Landania, just as the M.E.R.P guides, tasked with taking the party to the dead city of Tarquin, leave the safe house that the characters are staying in. Hello, I'm Chris, otherwise known as GM Chance, and as the word sounds green, welcome to our story. And what story is that, you may ask, gentle viewer and gentle listener? That story is Ain't No Place for a Hero. And speaking of heroes, up on screen are the 8, there's a lot of them, the 8 heroes that will delight, tantalize, tessellate perhaps, entrance and enthrall us in today's exciting episode. Before I hand over to the players, a pre-recording of the players to introduce their characters, and then we'll also go to the characters to answer a character development question in real time. My usual, habitual, but absolutely sincerely meant thanks to our supporters, our viewers, the people that follow our show. As I regularly say, this is our hobby, we do it for fun, and we're delighted that people from all around the world have signed up and have dialed in and listen and follow our stories. A very hearty hero welcome to some new subscribers. Isaac Rodriguez, Scott Maggard, and this name I absolutely love it, Grin and Barrett. Great name, and spelt very amusingly. Mr. Dell, Hesky90, and Jason B. Those are all some subscribers that have clicked the little button down below, and you are all very, very welcome indeed. What we'd say to perhaps people who have found this channel for the first time, maybe this is the first episode you've come across, or maybe you've watched a couple of these and you're just getting a bit of a feel for who we are and how we play, really would appreciate either a like down below or even better, a subscribe. It really does help the channel grow and help other people like you find our stories. Thanks very much. All right, as mentioned before, we have a pre-recording of the characters who introduced of the characters introduced by their players, and we kicked that recording off with Mason. Mason, take it away, please.
Kia ora, I'm Mason, and for this episode I'm playing Demos. He's a very attractive, very hunky, very buff mixed man. Really great with his spear and shield, and he can whip out some swords if he needs to. He's not the most intelligent person, but he makes up for it with a lot of kindness, a lot of gentleness, except for when he's fighting. And he's been with the party for a little while, has thoroughly enjoyed his time with them, is very much looking forward to saving the world. And on the side, he is looking and hoping to find his long-lost sister that was kidnapped a long, long time ago.
Hi, I'm Pete, and in this episode I'll be playing Leif. Leif is a half-elf warrior mage, which means he uses weapons as well as magic. He's a friendly fellow, very empathetic, and a really kind member of the party.
Kia ora, I'm Alex, and for this episode I'm playing Karios. Karios is a young North woman. She's a weather mage, a pretty powerful weather mage with some very cool spells. She's quite sweet and kind, a bit emotionally labile, but wears a heart on her sleeve and a strong moral compass. She also has a companion, a cat called Victory, who's a very important member of the party, and Victory was rescued, there's Victory, a wee while ago from impending doom.
Hi, my name's Giles, and for this episode I'm playing Tarquin. So Tarquin is a young, ridiculously good-looking half-elf. During his early life and adolescence, he's been well-trained in the gentle arts of thievery, charming others using his remarkably good looks, and of course, violence. He is in his own way a religious man, and he's out looking for some understanding as to what's happened to his homelands.
Hi, I'm Graham. I play Nyathonal Sherakir. She is a Magent, which is a mix of stealthy skills, fighting skills, and magic skills, mentalism, magic of the mind. She is a complex character, something of a religious fundamentalist who believes in assassination as a sacred endeavour. She keeps that well hidden, however. She is a dab hand with a short sword, and uses her magic and sneaky ability to good use in sneaking up on her adversaries.
Hi, I'm Aidan and I'm playing Grey. Grey is a very handsome half-elf who doesn't really believe in wearing shirts. He's constantly just displaying his body all the time, which, he's got it, so he's flaunting it. He's got a bit of a tragic backstory. Pretty much everyone he's ever really cared about has been murdered brutally, but despite that, he's still a lovely guy. He's very caring, cares a lot about his teammates and also animals, loves animals, as he is a beastmaster, so he has the power to kind of, I don't know, not control, well, he can control animals, but he can also kind of interact with them and understand them and get them to help him do what he needs to do. And when he's not using his magic, he is a bit of a dab hand with an axe. He is very good at chopping things, chopping enemies, and also good with a little bit of stabby and a crossbow as well. He has a bird called Wingy that is his best friend that needs to have a bit more of a story, I guess. She'll come into it a bit more like down the road, I think. Yeah, that's great.
Kia ora, I'm Pete and I'll be playing Mithan in this episode. Mithan is a ranger. She's a high man. She's pretty good at outdoor skills and she's a pretty good archer. She's not a people person. She doesn't really care about people's feelings, although she's beginning to in this party.
Hello, I'm Graham. I play Etienne Gilderflower. He is a genitrist, which is a type of paladin or holy warrior. He follows the teachings of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and he believes that her will leads him on, and he makes decisions based on the dreams he receives or thinks he receives from his goddess. He has joined the party on the mission to, as he understands it, to save the old order, the world as they know it. He is a very charming, very good-looking man, a very eccentric man, speaks in riddles and rhymes most of the time, but he believes in a higher purpose. He's a very dab hand with a sword, usually found in full plate.
And there we go. Hopefully that recording provides a bit more information, a bit more insight into the faces up on screen. Now, as mentioned before we went to the recording, at the beginning of each week, I send out some questions, some ideas which prompt the players to delve a little bit deeper, to unpeel the onion, if you like, about their characters. And they're either questions or people can come up with an image that perhaps reflects the character's background or whatever. And today, we're starting off with Pete. Pete, take it away, please. Who are we hearing from?
Sure. I'm hearing first from Leif. The question is, how does your character feel about the use of forbidden knowledge or ancient secrets? And would they pursue such information? Really easy question for Leif. Absolutely he would. In fact, that's what he's doing at the moment, in a way. From his childhood, his interest in magic was sparked when a very strange man introduced him to Bel Aurak the Magnificent's ultimate hex of dispersed wonder. And that's ancient knowledge that he's pursuing. So this is the wish magic, and it's sort of it always caught his imagination. And he believes there might be a copy of this spell or these spells in Tarek Ned, which is where the party is off to. So yes, he does believe in pursuing ancient secrets. With knowledge and dangerous things, he thinks that people ought to be very careful of those. It's quite pertinent because that's what the nations of the world have got. They've got very dangerous ancient knowledge. So he's sort of dubious about things at that sort of level and that magnitude. For Mithan, the question for her is, discuss a moment when your character had to confront their own mortality. How did it affect their outlook on life? In our game we have death saves, so that if our characters dealt a fatal blow, we get to dismiss that 3 times, and they sort of get knocked unconscious and wake up with a headache, or varieties of that. Most recently, Mithan was shot from behind in the back, and that used up one of her death saves, I believe. That was in Narn. Am I saying? What's that island called that we're at?
Island of Darn.
Darn. That's the one.
You were close. You were so close.
Close. Just one consonant off. She's already quite a defensive person. Her life has not been a kind one. She already sees the world as a nasty place. It just makes her more defensive. Her recent brush with death makes her more sort of trying to be aware of all threats to herself. Which is odd that she's still choosing. Well, it's not odd. She's still choosing to put herself at risk because she believes in the party. She believes that they need her, and she is willing to put herself. She's sort of through the friendship she's found in this party. She's actually reconnected with doing good for others, and perhaps the world at large. Yeah, there are idiots there, but perhaps there are more people like her friends out in the world. So perhaps they deserve her help as a whole. Can we please hear from Karios?
Thanks, Pete. So Karios, the obvious question is, describe an event where your character had to confront a powerful enemy and the odds seemed overwhelmingly against them. How did they persevere? Well, the most powerful enemy, which is death. I don't know if she persevered. Everybody else persevered around her. Pete was talking about those death saves, and unfortunately, Karios in her folly had none left, and through no fault of her own was missing a heart and some lungs and a few other things. So I like to think that she kind of knew what was going on and held on, and was buoyed along by the party. But definitely that was a team effort, and kind of links into, the question of her happiest moment was, of course, when she woke up. She could see Victory, she could see Leif, and she could see Grey. Yeah.
Wow.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, you're very kindly playing another character today.
Yes.
Did you want to touch on Demos, or did you want to leave?
Sure.
You don't have
No,
to.
I'll have a go. And as always, if I don't get someone's character right, just sing out. I'm going to answer what is the happiest moment your character can recall. And given I've only known Demos for a short time, I'm going to say when he saw his sister on the neighbouring ship passing by. That's definitely been the goal for Demos, is to find his sister, who was kidnapped when she shouldn't have been kidnapped. The princess should have been kidnapped, but the sister got kidnapped, and he's on the quest to find her, and he saw her, and it was for sure her. And he did a bit of investigation, and the team helped out there with who owns that ship and where's it going, and the rest is yet to come.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Who would you like to hear from, please?
Can we hear from Graham with all of his menagerie?
My menagerie? I don't know what you mean. Right, I'm going to answer the question for the Athanol first. Describe an event where your character had to confront a powerful enemy and the odds seemed overwhelmingly against them. A couple of things spring to mind. I think when we were captured back in a port city in the north, and we were completely overrun by very powerful people, and she actually nearly did it. She had to do an impossible maneuver to avoid being stuck up in some sticky web thing, and pulled one out of the bag and did an incredible acrobatic maneuver, but then failed on the next one. But it was, considering it was pretty much a fait accompli, she nearly did it. But anyway, but probably the one that's the most, I mean, where we were just completely, oh god, we must just lie down and die, is when the gods showed up. And funny enough, we didn't fare too well. I mean, Zio managed to run away. I suppose that's something, but the rest of us just died, I think. It seemed the appropriate thing to do.
He got pretty badly beaten up, yes.
Well, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And then Etienne, when has your character felt the most embarrassed? Easy answer. He doesn't feel embarrassed. He's so he's unembarrassable, really. He's just he is who he is, and he doesn't give a shit, really, what people make of his peculiar carryings on. So he'll be shameless when he needs to be shameless, and he doesn't feel it just doesn't touch him. So no, he doesn't feel embarrassed. Even if he screws up in combat, just it's just the god's will. So what's the point?
Excellent.
What's the point of being embarrassed about it?
Excellent.
And let's turn to Giles.
Thanks, Graham. So I guess for Tarquin, the question has to be: discuss a moment when your character had to confront their own mortality, and how did that affect their outlook? Sometimes you can't be a hero and stay alive, or at least you can only do so by a whisker. So he's had to face his own mortality very recently in Landania. And I guess we will find out how that might change his outlook on life as the game develops. It'd be fair to say he's had mixed emotions immediately about that. And yeah, go have a listen to those sessions if you want to find out what happened. And I'm also playing Grey, and I might take a little stab at this, and as with Alex, I'm happy to stand corrected. And so for the question for Grey might be, when has your character felt the most embarrassed? And maybe Grey is hoping that will be in the near future, and might involve one of the other party members. I suspect he harbours a secret hope, and that might be interlinked with a little bit of embarrassment for him.
Love
who knows
hearts.
how to...
Love hearts on the screen on the Discord chat. There we go. Excellent. Well met, one and all. And yes, just to underscore Giles's points, viewers and listeners, we have not one, not two, but three separate side quests or solo missions that Tarquin has recently undertaken. The final one was posted yesterday, actually. Giles and I caught up and edited the video and put it up yesterday. And I think it makes a very interesting tale. So if you haven't watched them already, well worth a look. There we go. So, for those that don't know the party well, that is the party up on screen. Those are the people, those are the faces, and indeed the names that you've just learnt a little bit about. You've seen the recordings, you've heard the players introduce them a bit more. Those are the people that we're going to be focusing on. And just to address a point that somebody asked me offline, sorry, not offline, but on social media recently, why do we spend so much time doing the introductions? It's because this game is a story and it's about characters. And I personally think, as a storyteller, yes, people want to hear the drama and the excitement about a fight or spells or whatever, but ultimately it's character driven. And I think the more we know about the characters and the more we understand the characters, the richer the story. So that's the answer to that question. Okay, it was a couple of weeks ago in real time since we played. Pete, you are very diligent with your notes, I know. Can I call on you to do as good a recap as you possibly can? It was a while ago. I do have some images that I should be able to pop up on screen that may be able to assist you with your narrative as well. Yeah, the floor, Pete, is yours in one tick. I'll just bring up an image. There we go. Go for it, Pete.
Thank you. Cool. So last session began with us all in the Myrna's sort of safe house in Landania, city of Landania, just as Karios in the previous session had woken up and said her famous 3 words, asking about victory and life. So what proceeded after that was we were in the safe house. We were aware of keeping a low profile. We spent the following couple of days catching Karios up on what had happened, telling stories, reconnecting, just sort of coming to terms with where we were. During that time, Tarquin was away a bit. We noticed that he would, slip out 2 or 3 times. The following day, the day after that Karios woke up, I believe, was Year's End Day, which was a very quiet day, a very bad, inauspicious day for people in this part of the world, or the world over, I'm sure, where you don't do anything because it's going to be ill-fated. All your luck has run out. So we did nothing. Not that we would anyway, because we were, undercover or trying to keep a low profile. But no one else did anything either, apparently, in town. Very quiet. The following day, the city was a lot more lively, and we had a visit from our host, Myrna, the sort of odd old lady, who's quite some interesting characteristics. But she had 2 people with her. She had Pashket and Cicely, who were going to be our guides on our journey to Tarquin. We learned later that they are of the M.E.R.P people. So we met them on the day after, and then the following day they came back to visit us with a 3rd person called Brave Tahoe. Well, we're calling him Brave because he was clearly nervous and not comfortable. So we did they were going to be our guides to Tarquin, which is the city of the dead, south of Landania in the swamp. Apparently it's surrounded by ghouls and all sorts of things. They told us the story of their people. So they are descended from the inhabitants of Landania, Tarquin, the M.E.R.P people, and there was quite a lot of history there. Talking about someone called M.E.R.P, who seemed like not a particularly nice person, perhaps a necromancer. There was quite a lot of information that had several links to other lore we've learned. For example, M.E.R.P seemed to bring back, she was brought back to fight in the War of Scarpus. And that bringing someone back from the dead sounds a little bit like the Rite of Aza, which is what is the ritual that Irene Chonta is wanting to use. on day 0. So that's one link there. Second link, which was a little bit ominous, was that we were told about some point in the history of Tarek Nev about some Arabic sort of seer from the north helping in the fight. We've been told from Myrna about this fellow. We believe he's the owner of the Sears Tower that we evicted bandits from, and up in Krapelin. And we also took some possessions from there because we didn't realise he was still alive. Myrna has told us there is someone fitting his description has been seen around Landania as well. So we're a little bit nervous, I think, that this very powerful seer might be out to get us because we were in his tower. So another connection there. He seemed to pop up in this lore of Tarek Nev. The discussion then turned to our possibilities for getting to Tarek Nev. There was the possibility of going on land from Landania all the way down through the swamp, around the Lake of Fire, Sea of Fire, to Port Vestalis, which was going to take 90 days, or to take a navigator column. I think we agreed with our guides that taking the navigator column was the better bet because it would cut down on time and exposure to the swamp. So that was our plan. We needed Brave Tahoe because he is a carpenter, and once we take the navigator stone to south of Port Vestalis, we still have to travel up a river. But once we get to Port Vestalis, which is at the bit there at the top of the map where the red line ends, we will need to be looking for a boat and repairing a boat, because that we will need to use a boat to go across the Sea of Fire to the island of Tarek Nev. So hence Brave Tahoe, and hence perhaps being a lot less comfortable than his two companions, as I think they are more familiar with going to Tarek Nev, where he is a simple carpenter. We got more information about the dangers of the Sea of Fire and of the perhaps the dangers to be found in Tarek Nev. And one of that piece of information was that the Red Gate, which is a gate to get into the city by, is guarded by a demon, and that there's another sort of elderly a Nuretti man living in Landania called Old Man Tilia, and he claims to have information on how to get past the demon. He has offered that information to other travellers who have gone sort of treasure hunting, I guess, in Tarek Nev. And we have also asked our guides to set up with a meeting with him, as we would like to have that information as well. I think that's where we're up to. We also found out about other visitors who have in the past been to Tarek Nev. There was one that we were one party we were able to identify. Our guides told us about these. One party we were able to identify as probably Torbash, who's the Tarong people that the Twilight party is after, and also they told us that there was another party who have either left or are preparing to leave to go there, and we are guessing that that's the Rini Chonta's party as well. I think that's us.
Good.
Sorry, Pete. Can I just ask, Irene Chonta's preparing to leave where?
To Tarek Nev.
Oh, she's going at the same time. Right, okay.
I think the story was they had either left or were about to leave, and we were quite clear with our guides, because I believe the guides talked to each other, I think was their source of information, but it would be good for us to know if they had in fact left or exactly where they were, but the priority was not for our guides to let that party's guides or that party know that we were also interested, that we existed. So great to get the information if possible, but not at the expense of us giving ourselves away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, ask for further information if it could be done 100% discreetly, and if not, then we don't get any information, but at least we know that they're either there or going there. My notes say a few days ago 20 people went, so maybe they have already gone. I can't quite remember.
Excellent. That is a lot of information. A lot. I wondered, maybe particularly Graham, because you missed last session, Alex, actually, Giles, you weren't part of last session either. Did you want to ask any questions initially of Pete on the back of that information? And then the GM will follow up. You did an amazing job, Pete, because that was a massive, technically in the trade, it's known as a lore dump, where a GM just goes, here's lots of information, which you guys got, and you did an amazing job at synthesizing it, but I will qualify a couple of those things. But did any others have any other questions for Pete or anything else that happened in that last session?
Just regarding that map there, that red line, we're expected to dock with our homemade boat at that river there. Is that what we're saying?
Sorry, the idea. Sorry, and that was not clear. The bottom of that red line, I believe, is where the navigator stone that will arrive at is, and then we travel up the river all the way looking for a boat because we'll need a boat. That's critical. Thanks, Brave Tahoe. And we perhaps will find a boat, but a lot have been picked over the years. But by the time we reach the top of the red line, Port Stillis, we need to find a boat somewhere around there so we can make it over to the island. If we can't find a boat, we can't do it, basically.
Right.
A qualification by me, and this I take this on as my mistake. Port Vestillis is actually here. That is Port Vestillis. So you arrive.
My mistake.
Yeah, yep. You arrive at this port, which is down the river. So your Noretti guides told you that this place was chosen as the main city docks for Tarek for two reasons. Firstly, because there is a navigator stone there, and secondly, because a lot of this area here can be prone. Certainly, the river can be prone to flooding. That's a 5-day walk, they say, between a 4 and 5 day walk down to the Sea of Fire. There's a small dock here, but the main dock is Port Vestillis here. 5 days down there, 3 days. It's basically 4 miles to cross from the Sea of Fire to Whistler Island. Another 4 miles to get across to the Tradeway Canal, and then up the Tradeway Canal for about 3 days, and then around to your choice, up either the Vere Passage, cross the Falling Bridge to the Red Gate and into Tarek Nev itself, or you can head through the Weir Forest, or however you choose to get there. One of the points that Pashket, your guide here, the leader of your guides, was very, very clear on was they will take you from Port Vestillis down 5 days down to the Sea of Fire. They will not, absolutely will not, cross with you to Tarek Nev. So they will wait for you. There is apparently a relatively secure place for them to wait for you at the Sea of Fire. They will wait for you while you cross over to firstly Whistler's Island and then on to Tarek Nev itself. They will wait for you, and they'll wait for a certain period of time. And after that period of time is up, they'll give it 1 more day. And if you still haven't arrived, they will travel back the 5 days back down to Port Vestillis, and then they will teleport by Navigator Stone back to Landania. On the way down, as Pete described, the intention is your travel upriver if you prefer. Your travel will be a lot safer if you are on a boat of some kind or other. And obviously you will need some way of crossing, presumably a boat, but perhaps you guys may come up with another way of crossing. The boiling Sea of Fire, at times boiling. You presumably need some water transport to make that, firstly, 4 miles to there, and then another 4 miles to get across. This horrible region, the Alameng, the green festa, the swamp that this whole area is in, is not regularly visited by people. You've got to be pretty crazy to go there. But every 10 or so years, a group of treasure hunters go through. Now, it was 219 years ago, or thereabouts, that Port Vestillis and this region was put to ruin So your chance of finding a workable boat is slim, plus the fact that other people, other treasure hunters, will have picked over any vessels around. So you're going to have to fluke it, and your chances of getting a boat may increase the further south you go, but you hope to find some kind of vessel as you go downriver. And brave Tahoe, the very nervous-looking carpenter who's with you, his job is to bring along hammers, saws, nails, etc., and repair any vessels as needed. The other two, by the way, Pashket, the leader, and Cicely, seem quite capable, and they have both been. They've explained to you that they have both been to the Sea of Fire before. Both are armed with pretty business-looking falchions, which they said they have used to slay the twice living several times before. Yeah, it's probably about. Yeah, any other questions? I guess it's probably the way to go.
Well, that map had north at the bottom.
Sorry.
The map you just showed, north is to the bottom of the map. Not that one. Oh, well, both of them. So north is down. So
no, north is at the top of the map. Just ignore the. No. North's up here.
Okay, good. All right. Just because we're coming from the north, so we're overshooting and coming back essentially.
Correct.
Yeah, good. I got it.
So
Got it.
Landania's here. The Jewel Island is approximately here. If you can see, is my cursor showing up on screen?
Yep.
Cool. So Jewel Island is here. Landania is here. Osot is here. Ely is here. Port Vestilis is down here. So yes, you're overshooting. Correct.
And Port Vestilis, so as far as we're concerned, or we think Port Vestilis is not occupied by any kind of semi-permanent.
No one living, anyway.
No one living there.
You will definitely encounter. Your guides were emphatic that on this route, you will definitely encounter the twice living and perhaps other horrible things, and you're highly likely of finding the twice living in Port Vestilis as well.
Yep. And they have the guides been? I know they're not coming to Tarangnev, but have they been there before?
They have not.
Right. Okay. And did they come up with some top tips on dealing with the twice or more living?
They did. They did. Pete, do you have those written down? Or
burn them, or slay them with or hit them with a slaying weapon, basically.
Right. Okay. So stock up on oil.
Supplies.
They have provision dust.
Did you want to talk about provisions, Pete?
Oh, probably. Yes. So they have given us 20 days of provisions, oil, water, and insect repellents. So that so that will weigh 49 pounds each. So we will be overburdened. So it means we will not be able to go quite as fast as we would have. But that's, I think, been taken into account, and it will get lighter. So they have provisioned us food, oil, water, and insect repellent. They will wait for us for 13 days, and they've got a plan of how to report the breakdown was.
What was that, Pete? Sorry.
What was that? What was the timing for us? So they will wait for 13 days.
Yep. So.
What was the?
Yep. So timing is so they have arranged provision with you for 22 days each, 42 pounds of food each, 4 pounds of water, 2 pounds of oil each, and 1 pound each of insect repellent. 49 pounds each in weight. 5 days from Port Vestilis to the Sea of Fire. 3 days from there across, assuming everything goes absolutely fine and nothing bad happens at all. 3 days then across the Sea of Fire, and then up to Taraqnev. I have assumed 6 days for you to explore Taraqnev, 3 days back to the edge of the Sea of Fire where they're waiting, and then 5 days back. And yes, they said they would wait They will wait for 13 days on the shore of the Sea of Fire for you, and 1 day extra. There is at least was, an old ruined tower that's reasonably safe, where all the guides stay. On the 14th day, they have told you that they will return to the Navigator's Column and return to Landania. They will stay no longer.
What about taking a beast of burden? Gray's a new friend for Gray.
It's a good idea.
They've said that it's been tried before. Typically, the horrors of the undead typically often make animals run and very, very skittish and hard to handle. You can try, but wouldn't advise it.
Another question is, I assume, and I think I've seen it on a map, that there's a dam between the Sea of Fire and the Flagway Canal. I assume we can't take the boat all the way to Tarquin.
Correct.
I'll have to just double check.
GM's just going to head to the bathroom, have a quick chat, and come back.
Sounds like a lovely trip.
At least it'll be warm.
Yeah. I
Our
guides have got woolens on. I don't know where they're from, but anyway.
I've not played Grey before, but could Grey use one of his spells like Animal Bonding, which apparently is so strong an animal will die, to protect Grey?
That's what Wingy's got.
Right, so could he do that to a pack animal? And that will unskittish them? Or am I just trying to...
Is there a negative effect if the animal dies?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you could.
So it says, if either party has ever killed, the surviving member will be minus 30 for a week, minus 20 for a week, minus 10 for a week.
Yeah. So, yeah, I reckon you could. We could have a pack animal. I reckon that they will be vulnerable and get killed, and then Grey will be at a negative.
Okay.
So,
just that then.
Possible. I mean, if it wasn't for that, yeah, well, it'll be a question for the GM.
So we're going to be encumbered.
It allows the caster to control. Okay, the other thing he has is a spell called Animal Mastery, which I don't know how long it lasts, and I'm not sure how you tell it. Just under duration, it just says C.
Concentration.
Oh, crap. But this allows the caster to control the actions of any animal.
Yeah, but we don't want him
concentrating forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could do, but I mean, he might also have some. Actually, he might have some sort of animal handling skills that will increase a bond. If he gets a horse and he sort of gets to trust him, perhaps that might have the same effect as to unskittish. But I don't know.
How long does float last?
And you're on mute again. Sorry.
I think Chris has kind of made his mind up about possibly us not doing this. Yeah.
How long does...
Just get into the habit of dropping our stuff as soon as we start combat, right?
Yeah.
It's free to drop stuff in action, so we just do.
And if we needed to move at speed, could we float our packs or something?
Sounds like a great idea.
The only other thing Chris hasn't made clear to me is exactly when you've left, or where Tarquin is, or how you come back. He comes back to join the party. And
we haven't left. We haven't left. We've still got to go and visit this old man Tilia.
Okay.
Yep. So we're still in Landania in our same house, waiting for Graham to get back. I think. That was before making any big decisions. I think that's how I was feeling anyway.
We should give Wingy an underslung load.
All right. Any other questions for me before we start the game? No? Okay. So, one last thing, qualification for me in terms of timing. Again, Pete, vast amount of information. You did an amazing job. Slight qualification in terms of time. So Karios recovered on the 29th, the second to last day of the year. Tarquin disappeared that evening on the 29th and came back. The next day, which is Year's End's Day, a very, very inauspicious, very unlucky, the most unlucky day when demons stalk the streets and it's just a very bad day, Tarquin disappeared again and came back. That day, some people picked up a little bit of information about what Tarquin looked like when he came back. The very next day, the very first day of the new year, which is called, oddly enough, New Year's Day, a very, very good day of the year, Tarquin disappeared again and didn't come back. Didn't come back that night. All that day of the 2nd, no sign of Tarquin, but you did see your rather unusual guide, Myrna, come in and out twice that day, and she had informed you that indeed the next day, on the 3rd, was the day that you would meet your two guides, Pashket, the leader, Cicely, and they brought with them a very nervous-looking Tahoe, the carpenter. So where we're going to start, we're going to start the game, unless anybody has any very last questions, is the beginning early, or mid-morning on the 3rd of New Year's Day, King's Day, the 3rd of New Year's Day. Your three new N.E.R.P friends, quite deferential, you discovered, have just left the house. The instruction that you'd given them was that you were wanting to meet with Old Man Tilia the very next day to discuss what he knows about access to the Red Gate, or information about the Red Gate, and that you would leave very promptly a couple of days after that. In terms of this other party that Pashket in particular had heard rumors of, turns out his cousin, or his sister's aunt's sister's dog's roommates, friends, best mates, whatever cousin, was apparently going to be guiding for this other group, but he wasn't sure if they had gone or they were about to go in 3 days, or what was the story. You had instructed Pashket to make some discreet inquiries if possible, but not to let on your existence. That's where we're about to begin. Any qualifying questions? Anything else we need to touch on? Anything else that's not clear, guys?
With the food and provisions that we're taking, are they sufficiently wrapped that we could do drops?
The guides say you could try, but they wouldn't recommend it. The Green Festa is a horrendous swamp. All manner of creatures, both natural and unnatural, live there with amazing powers of smell and taste, and there's a very good chance you'd come back and your food would either be rotten, wet, damp, and or eaten by something. But you could try, perhaps.
Is there a sort of local equivalent of cling film? Or you know what I'm saying? Because I don't really, because we're going there and back again. Quite popular. We, could we? Have they got any ideas about whether we could stash? And they know the terrain. Obviously we could leave some food with them in the tower, for instance.
They're happy to do that. Yep.
Yeah, but we're just trying to think, keeping the weight down where we don't need it if we're coming back. But if they've got any kind of ways of storing stuff, that might be useful. Or maybe the tower's enough. But I was just thinking when we get to over the sea, whether we might want to lighten our load a bit.
They didn't have any suggestions, unfortunately.
We have the breakdown of weights again for those things.
Yeah,
sorry.
sure.
Each
Yep,
person.
sure.
Yeah.
I've got some notes here. Would it be handy if I share those notes, perhaps?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That'd be great. Yep.
I'll put them in the chat afterwards.
one other thing I forgot to say, if I can just jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Another piece of history they had was that Varama there, so this sort of founder, but sort of nemesis-y sort of person, a bad woman, but she also made the people stronger of the Nareti people, so people who founded Taraknev. She also made a mechanical device called the Elden Slayer, which is an animated suit of metal, and it guards the location in Taraknev. So we're going there to find this sword that will hopefully help us defeat, I can't remember his name, the guy, the Watcher in the Dark. I imagine that's probably the most powerful item there, so I imagine there's going to be some sort of beastie guarding it. A mechanical thing. I just thought I'd let you know, Graham.
Very, very slight amendment to that. She didn't create it. She She repaired it. It was from the ancient times, but she and her father repaired it.
Cool.
So provisions for 22 days each. 42 pounds worth of food each. 4 pounds of water. You'll need to replenish water on the way. Obviously, and you'll need to boil water. Hence the oil. The oil is there to both burn the twice living, as well as start fires to boil water so you can drink. And also 1 pound each of insect repellents, so 49 pounds in all.
Very much.
Yes. Any? I will put these notes if you're wanting it. It sounds like you are. I'll put them in the chat.
Thanks.
Okay. I won't do it immediately. I'll do it after the game. Okay. So, if we're all sitting comfortably after a useful piece of updating, let's start the game. The door has just closed, and your Nareti guides have headed off, kind of mid to late morning on the 3rd. You've been provided with both the maps they left behind. They do want them back, but they left the maps with you. And they went off to follow your instructions to meet with Old Man Tilia the next day. What do you do? Stunned silence.
Well, it sounds like everything's in order, right? Unless there's any equipment, we otherwise just keep laying low and waiting, right?
Yeah, I think that Leif in particular would raise. Do we need to do something about Tarquin's absence?
Oh, he's not back, right? So I don't know what's happening then.
And I don't believe he did leave any knowledge of where he went.
He didn't. He definitely.
No.
He quite categorically didn't.
So, was Myrna with our guides this last visit?
She did, but she left before them. So she introduced them, and then she headed off.
How long had Tarquin been gone before, by when they came to visit? It'd been a while, so we would have started to be concerned. We sort of retrospectively just mentioned that to Myrna and see if she could put out feelers about any information.
Yeah, sure. So you last saw Tarquin on the 1st. It's now the mid-morning on the 3rd.
Yeah, absolutely would be concerned by that. So before she left, I think Leif in particular would sort of draw her aside and quietly just ask her if it's possible for her to, if she remembers our other companion, we haven't seen him for at least 2 days. Would it be possible for her to make discreet inquiries or to get her ear out for any events happening in the city?
Oh, yes. Tall fellow, wasn't he?
I believe so. Very good looking.
Lovely
personality.
Actually, very short.
Not very short. Oh, my mistake. I don't remember.
Yes. Yes. And she had shuffled off. Anything from Karios I should be aware of, or Demos, or Grey?
Karios is probably still resting, and more concerned with victory than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, I mean, I guess spells and things, we'll get to that later on on our travels, but just, probably concerning herself with what she can and can't do, and the carrying of items is going to be an issue for her. Oh, puss.
Well, I was just wondering whether we take some sort of like a collapsible stretcher, if such a thing exists. Not only could we carry some food in it between two people, which might prove an easier way to carry it, but if something goes, I mean, heaven forbid we bump into anything that might be life endangering, and somebody goes down, I mean, what are the odds? We have means of carrying them, because we've got quite a bit of travelling to do there, and if somebody does come a cropper, that might come in handy, and maybe it'd be worth considering that. What do we think? And we can always ditch it.
Not to be too morbid, but perhaps we could use Kyros's coffin.
I was going to say the coffin. Put some handles on it.
Well, we'll get a carpenter to convert it. No, I was thinking like a couple of poles and a bit of canvas, you know.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Maybe we can make some inquiries of our guides as to whether something they could arrange that if we give them some hard currency, and whether they think that would be useful, get in the way, yada yada yada.
Yep. Great idea.
Anything from Grey or Demos? It's Giles and Galax.
Ray will be attending to Karios as much as he is able to.
Okay.
Did Tarquin get any idea of where what he did the previous night, or like, was there any clues as to the area?
Nothing. And right about now, there is a on the door. You're not expecting anybody.
I think it's Gray to answer. I think everyone else is recognisable. Well,
In which case, Gray will go and open the door and see who's there.
Sure. So going down, Grey, you see several things. Firstly, the first thing you see is this man standing in front of you. Armed. He's got a tabard, filthy-looking tabard of the City Watch. He's got several other people with him. This man. And this man here up on the screen and this guy here are pushing a handcart. This man at the door looks up at Grey, kind of slightly startled to see this bare-chested, nipple-flashing elven guy. Hello, sir. We think we might have a friend of yours. And they gesture towards the cart. He promised us payment. He's a good chap, by the way. He's funny. Very, very funny. He promised us coin, though, and we do like coin. So, how much did you say? Yells back at Tarquin.
Then I guess Tarquin yells out, "There'll be coppers for the coppers!"
This guy, he's a crack up. He's hilarious. I tell you what, he says to Grey, he's had us in stitches for the last couple of days. Really funny man. Is he a bard? Actually, what are you? You didn't say what your profession is. Is that what you do? Do you make people laugh? Because you've been funny as all hell, I tell you.
At which point I think Grey would probably check it's Tarquin. And how many of them are there? Oh, how many of them are there, Chris? Four, did you say?
There's 4. So this man in the front doing the speaking. This man who rather inexplicably has a chicken tied to his belt, and something around his and a cut on his head, and this guy here. This guy, by the way, does have what looks like quite a freshly bandaged face and an injury on his arm, by the looks of it too. Yes. Grey, it is. So you do see Tarquin. He is lying in the cart. He is completely and utterly immobile. He's a mess, Grey, from what you see. His face, for a start, is incredibly sunburnt. He's covered in insect bites. And he's wearing... the last you saw of him, he was walking out in his finest, and that beautiful set of clothes that he had purchased in Keltaimun. He's now lying in this little handcart, completely immobile, and in a filthy pair of breeches. It looks as though someone's vomited on them previously, and a filthy, ripped, torn shirt. And he's not moving, but he's speaking.
And so I guess Grey will hear Tarquin thank these people for bringing him home, and ask Grey if he'd be so good as to go and get some coppers for the coppers. At which point Grey will go upstairs to the others to let them know Tarquin's downstairs in a handcart, immobile, and that he needs some coppers for these 4 guardsmen who have come back. And he could potentially just go and look in Tarquin's money bag, or he only took a little bit of money with him, and take out, I don't know, what do you think, Pete, like 4 coppers for each of them or something? 6.
Six coppers for me? Sure. I'm going to take that out of just party fund, if that's all right. Yeah, 24 coppers. Yeah.
So I guess you'll take them downstairs. Oh, and the other party members can't see these people, can they? Is there some worry about being recognised?
Unless they come downstairs.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was asking Pete and Graham. There's concerns about being recognised in Landania, is there?
Yeah, definitely. So keen to further. Yeah, keen to.
In which case, Grey will go downstairs. I think Grey might ask the party, having listened to our conversation, do we want to see if we can buy the handcart? I'm not sure if we'd be able to take that where we're going.
I think we've got to, with the navigator column and everything, probably something a little bit more portable would be good, right? Like something we can collapse down.
Cool.
Like a proper kind of, field stretcher is probably what we want, right?
Yeah. In which case, Grey will go downstairs, thank these city guards again, give the bag of money to the main chap, and lug Tarquin out of the handcart, take him inside, close the door, and head upstairs with him.
Okay. So the lads seem pretty happy with this. So 3 coppers each. Sorry, 3 coppers. You gave them 6 each. 3 coppers would buy you a night's accommodation in a good inn, basically, in the city. So you've given them each 2 nights accommodation. They seem pretty happy with that. Thanks, friend, and you take care now, they say, and they kind of slap Tarquin around. They clearly quite like Tarquin. Grey, you manhandle Tarquin inside. He's a mess. He doesn't smell good. And the 4 guards and their creaking little handcart head off down this little alleyway, and then back onto the main drag. As they go off, you just Grey, hear them kind of laughing and slapping each other on the back. What a character! Funny man, right? Funny man. I wonder what happened to him. Holding Tarquin as you are, you also see that there is a horrific injury on Tarquin's neck. Grey. Tarquin is now inside.
So I guess Grey will carry Tarquin upstairs to the others. Tarquin will duly thank Grey for manhandling him.
Sure thing. What happens?
Can we do any healing?
Mithan will be happy to do that. Her diagnostics, I don't think is as good as Karios's. Karios wants to do diagnostics, see what we can make of.
So I guess when they're upstairs, Tarquin would probably be very relieved and tell everyone how good it is to see them again. Would explain he got into a little bit of an altercation, which led to a sword to the neck. not the desired outcome, and that this has paralysed him. He'd tell him he's cast a self-healing spell, and that this
3
injury to
spells.
his injury to his three self-healing spells. This injury to his neck will be healed, but will take another 8 days to heal. And this means he'll be paralysed for 8 days. From the neck down, he can speak, he can move his head, but that's about it. And clearly he can tell jokes because he managed to charm these 4 scruffy chaps into rescuing him from his paralysed state and to bring him back to the party.
Looks like that stretcher could be coming in sooner.
You are prophetic, Graham. You are prophetic.
So I don't think we've been carrying people into fray, but okay. Where what happened? Says Etienne.
So I guess Tarquin would talk to Eddie and you trust him, and would tell him he was somewhat upset and frustrated by some of the treatment in the Temple of Hera. He thought he'd go and pay them a visit to explain this and attempt to recoup some of our losses there.
Explain this.
Etienne's immediately affronted by that. What, you went to steal from a temple?
We went to see what was going on at a temple.
Why?
Well, if only I could embarrass you as well as affront you. And he says that's a good question. Shouldn't have gone in at all, and certainly shouldn't have been walking around on my own. And it never happened. They were polite and friendly, but got into an altercation en route, ending up with a sword in my neck. Fortunately, I managed to avoid being killed, although awoke to discover myself in a rundown part of town where I met the colleagues who we had an altercation with some 3 weeks earlier and only just managed to escape them, fortunately being saved by the city guard, who I managed to persuade to return me to here.
And for those of you who haven't watched those 3 episodes, I think if you have time, they're worth a look because it's a hell of a story. All completely legit, no fudging of dice by the GM. Tarquin survived by good luck and some amazing, some good playing and some amazing luck. But yeah, worth a look. Sorry, Tarquin, do you continue?
I guess that's where Tarquin would leave him. He'd also ask possibly if someone might be so kind as to get him out of the disgusting filth he's wearing, and help him get back into his standard leather clothes. What he really wants is a bath and a clean-up, but that might be pushing it just a little far.
Did he leave his armour? He did.
Yeah, so all he took out with him was his fine clothes, so he's lost those. He took out a few, I think we said 5 silver pieces. He's lost both of his daggers. But essentially that's it. He could have been a lot worse. So yeah, he still has a set of clothing, thankfully.
Mithan will offer him
and he'll mention that his face is a little uncomfortable and he suspects the rest of his skin, having spent a little time in the sun, rather as he came into the world, the rest of his skin might need a little bit of care as well. So I suspect he can't feel himself from the neck down, and he can't see himself, obviously. But I suspect he's a bit sunburnt and possibly a bit bitten everywhere.
A bit is the understatement of the year.
So any healing that could help with that stuff would be fantastic.
So Mithan's got frost/burn relief. Will heal 1 area of mild frostbite or 1 first-degree burn. So she'll cast that as many times as she needs on him. And minor irritation relief, so she can relieve him of being a minor irritation. Oh no, sorry. We'll heal 1 minor irritation, e.g. headache, toothache, bee sting, hangover, etc. And we'll offer healing hits as well.
So he's at full hit points.
He is. He
okay,
is.
cool.
He is. But both of those would do wonders for Tarquin's at least in game or character comfort. 4 of those irritation reliefs would, 2, 1 on each side of his face, because that's all he can currently feel, but he is stung to, excuse the language, stung to buggery elsewhere. And at least 4 times for the burn relief would heal him up, Pete.
Cool. So that's 6 spells. I just rolled. Yep. No 1, 2s, or 3s.
Very good. 1 or 2s. All it is.
Oh, 1 or 2 is my mistake. Yeah. No,
Yep.
Nothing 1 or 2. So yeah, two. What do you say? Two burn reliefs and several. Whatever you said.
Actually, so those are all the spells done. So two on his face that he can feel. 2 burn relief, and sorry, I'll retract that. Maybe 1 burn relief for his face, 1 insect relief for his face, and then 1 burn relief. 2 burn reliefs for the top of his body, 2 burn reliefs for the bottom of his body, and the same for the insects. So what's that? 4. What did I say? 8. 12.
10 in total.
12. 10 in total.
12?
Yep.
10 in total. So I need to do 4 more spells. Yep.
Go for it. And you get the XP for it.
Still a risk?
Still a risk.
No 1s or 2s.
There you go.
And then Leif will help. I don't know what our modesty sort of factors are, but Leif would offer to help carry him wherever, wash him down, and dress him if that's what he's comfortable with. I don't know what happens.
Tarquin would be absolutely delighted to be washed down in his clothing.
Okay. So, first and foremost, Tarquin, yes, you can't feel anything from your neck down, but you can definitely on your face. You're in quite some discomfort, and whatever Mithan just did, that feels amazing. The ability of having itchy bites on your face and not being able to touch them or scratch them has infuriated you for the last 48 hours. And Mithan, who is not exactly the most caring and necessarily tender of people, you just think is amazing at being able to cure you of these afflictions. The rest of your body, of course, you can't feel it, but actually having the insect bites go down, and they dramatically do, that's the perfect spell, actually. Thanks, Pete, for that. And then the same with the sunburn, which is reasonably, well, it hasn't been that sunny in Landania, but sunny enough, has definitely helped as well. Tarquin, you're feeling miles better than you have for a long time.
Very relieved. I mean, look, I would thank Mithan a great deal. Look, I think at this point too, Etienne would probably call over. Tarquin would call over to Etienne, and just let him know how much he recognises how important this party has rapidly become, and suggest to Etienne if he wants to. That's interesting.
What's that? A fire alarm?
I think it's a fire alarm. I'm going to have to bail.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay. So I'm just watching the screen, and our player Giles is just heading outside. I hope that's not a fire alarm at the hotel he's staying at. Let's see. Any other actions from anybody else? Any actions or reactions from either Karios or Demos or Mithan or Leif or your 2 characters, Graham?
Yeah, I think Niathan will probably say, if you're planning on heading out, happy to provide some measure of backup if it's something you want to do,
Nice.
I'm quite good at sneaking around, and at the risk of calling the kettle black, I'm certainly happy to, shadow you or whatever next time.
Nice one. Looks like Giles has nipped out, so we might have to. So I'd be really super keen to pick up exactly that conversation once Giles is back. So anything else not directed at Tarquin or not around Tarquin that I should be aware of, guys? And we'll backtrack to any conversation with Tarquin.
Just say that Leif would fill Tarquin on the arrangements, but Giles already knows that, so it's fine. But they would talk about that.
Okay.
And Leif would raise the issue of Tarquin's paralysis, thus making our trip. And we're due to go in 3 or so days. We'd rather not be carrying a body, but maybe we'll have to.
I think that's the situation we're in, isn't it?
Yeah. Do we want to see what? So what do you mean? We should carry him in, or?
I think we need to get, particularly with this other party. I think we need to shake a leg, and if that means carrying him, so be it. He just might have to be dumped at places.
And he'll have all the packs and stuff on top of him.
Yeah, well, he can carry the food. He can have the food around him, but he just might be unceremoniously dumped at times. But
Yep. Okay.
I don't think we should delay because with this other party going.
Yeah, agreed.
He will have recovered. Sorry, he will have recovered by the time he crossed the sea. Is that correct?
8 days, he said. Tarquin said 8. So
on the day.
So Tarquin cast the spell yesterday, which is the 2nd. Tarquin believes he should be healed by the 10th.
And when are we due to cross the sea?
In 8 days' time.
Or not,
9 days' time, not the 9th day.
No, so today is the 3rd. You had told your guides you were wanting to leave for Tarek on the 6th. It would take you 5 days from the 6th to get down to the Sea of Fire.
So he won't have recovered.
So, if he's recovering on the 10th, we'll be coming across the Sea of Fire on the 11th, right?
Okay, great.
Although you will be dramatically slowed down by carrying a stretcher or whatever.
Did we manage to communicate to our guides the idea for a stretcher whilst they were there? That we would have chosen to if that was, because that was Graham's idea. His characters were there, but he didn't have the idea.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to retrospectively say yes, they would have made a stretcher or a camp bed.
Yes.
I think it's for carrying more than anything.
Emphasis on carrying. Modified camp bed.
Karios is going to be very slow too. Base movement reduced by 25%.
Yeah.
And one arm. One working arm.
The expedition started well then. This is going well.
You guys are in great shape.
Should we roll some more characters?
No, I only got mine back. She's staying.
No, I'm not saying get rid of them. I just reckon,
She's got to crawl. She will crawl with her cat.
I think we cast float on her. If she needs, we need to move the pace. Just clings on to someone.
Wingy.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Or just hit someone like Leif up with a permanent set of reins.
Just Karios and the cat floating behind Leif. Oh, God. I need to get some AI happening.
The good news is they are was 8 of us, right? So is there 8 of us?
Yes.
So even if we're someone down, we're not, because I think we were kind of expecting to lose Demos, maybe, or I wasn't quite sure what was going on there. Yeah. So we have a few, there's more of us than It's not like Twilight who are looking a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But come on the ground. Are you back,
boys?
Giles, are you back? We've got an image on screen, but we don't.
Yeah, so look, I'm just on my phone. I'm on my phone outside, but I'll leave it on. Yeah, so I'm back. I can hear you.
Has the hotel been
mostly? Yeah, you don't need to hear the fire alarm. Well, I was sitting in the university library, which doesn't look like it's burning down to me.
Okay.
But
so
we'll see how long it lasts. There are fire everywhere.
Oh dear. Okay. Graham, you had Neathanol had a comment directed at Tarquin. Did you want to?
Oh, no, she was just saying next time you're heading out, she's happy to provide some backup. You know, she's quite a sneaky person, so if you need a bit of some shadowing, you know, it's kind of it's her thing. So you know, just give us a nod.
He'll be very appreciative for that, and certainly take her up on it.
Yep. Oh, by the way, Tarquin, you lost your precious lockpicks too. Of course. Yes.
Oh, we'll get some new ones. That's fine.
One thing on lockpicks. It did occur to me that probably they're unusual items to acquire, so you don't just walk into a shop and get an off the shelf set of lockpicks.
Well, Neathanol has a set.
She does.
Mm.
She does.
I mean, you can always borrow mine. It's not, you know, not essential.
Nice one. Okay, so there were some questions just while you were avoiding the fire alarm, Giles, from your companions about travel, etc., etc., etc. Do we want to dive into that anymore, or do we want to progress, or what do we do? Any other questions or thoughts?
Yeah, we're just talking about. I think we're gonna have to leave, Giles, with carrying Tarquin, because we don't think it's a good idea to delay because this other party. So we're gonna have to carry you, but you're gonna come right by the time we cross the sea.
Excellent. Cool.
But,
So yes,
that does mean that you might be, if we run into trouble, it does mean you're going to be unceremoniously dumped at times.
Right, I have to live with that, and I guess he'll tell the party if it looks like someone might try to do a bit of stabby while he's paralysed. He's just going to hide himself as best he can by making everything black. But yeah, I just have to worry about that if it happens. Yeah, so he's got 8 days. 8 days of being paralysed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, we could even wrap you up if you like. So, you know, if although you can still cast spells, can you?
So you can cast spells. Yep, and I need to eat and drink. But apart from that, yeah, so I need to keep my hands free so I can cast spells. But yeah, and which I can do.
Okay. All right. Well, that's something. We'll prop you up somewhere.
Okay. Any other actions I should be aware of for the remainder of the day?
Does Mithan need any more herbs?
We could always do with more herbs if someone's going to go shopping. We don't have huge amounts of money to buy them.
No.
So we've got the herbs we've got are, let's see, one for healing shattered bone, poison antidote, healing hits. We don't have any life-giving anymore. Healing hits and muscle, cartilage, and tendon repair, and stun berries. So we don't have a lot of herbs, no. But
what can we buy some more hit point recovery?
So at this point, just before the fire alarm went off, Tarquin would have called Etienne over and said, you know, you guys are increasingly important to me. Have my coin. And so it says on the XP sheet, I think Tarquin is a wealthy chap, has about 300 silver pieces. So you just give all of that to the party minus, can't remember if I took 5 or 10 silver pieces with me, Chris, can you?
5.
So he does. So it's whatever's on the on the spreadsheet minus 5 silver pieces, and he's happy for that just to go into party funds as they stand.
Thank you. I'll minus those 5. So that's really cool. Yeah.
So what can we afford, Pete?
I'll do some herb shopping. I was probably supposed to do this previously, but if I was to do some herb shopping, we might just say because we've got 3 days. Next time we see Myrna, give her a list and ask her to go and trade for us. Is that possible, Chris?
Yes.
Yep. Just city price. Is safe to say.
City. Yep. So the rule of thumb is anything less than 5 gold is city price. If it's 5 gold or above, you or someone else would have to go and trade for them, and it could end up being a lot more expensive or a lot less expensive. But 5 gold or less, happy for you just to pay silly price.
Yes, so thank you. I'll put together a shopping list and have a little look at what we might need, and we'll put it post in chat and stuff. And if we need someone to make rolls over the next 3 days, we can send Gray out. We can just negotiate who that would be best to do. Is that all right?
Sounds good. Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Anything else I need to be aware of?
I don't know about anyone else, but it sounds like we're kind of. I mean, there's preparations underway, and should we just? I mean, is it time? Is it worth a fast forward, or what do we think?
Sure.
Great. We're going to go into the old Mantilia, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of that day passes uneventfully. Tarquin, you're cleaned up. You have, as described, massive relief from having the sunburn and all the rest. Definitely dramatically go down, and the same with the insect bites in your face. You're feeling miles better than you have. You've had a pretty traumatic time, Tarquin, to be fair to say, and again, just encouragement to go and check out those videos. So yes, you go to sleep, and indeed the next day dawns. Unsurprisingly, it is Landania, and you've actually been blessed by the start of the year having some quite nice weather, but it is Landania, so you wait till it rain, unfortunately. Not far past dawn, however, there is a knock on the door. Firstly, it's Myrna, initially, but then shortly after that, an hour or so after that, your 2 guides arrive. There's no sign of Tahoe, the carpenter, but your 2 guides, Pashket and Cicely, are there in the not pouring rain, but the dripping rain. They come inside. Good morning, master. Good morning, mistress, they say, bobbing their heads. We have spoken to old man Tilia, and he awaits. It's some walk, and unfortunately the weather is not good, but if you're ready, we should go. And all of those that please need to go to Tarek Nev, he humbly requests, must come with us.
Just friendly question from Etienne. Out of interest, why does he need to see all of us?
The secrets that he and his family keep about Tarek Nev and the Red Gate are his family's livelihood, so he says. And you see, by the way, this is Pashket speaking. Speaking of speaking, I just want to double check here, and I would like to establish this sooner rather than later, so get your character sheets ready, please, one and all, in terms of languages. These are the languages that the 3 of your... the 2 guides and your carpenter can speak. They're coming into main game chat now. Can you please have a review each of those? It'll take you a second or 2. And can you tell me who of your characters you can communicate with coming now? So Pashket is the... hang on. Why did that... Anyway. The carpenter speaks both Nuretti and Thebronic. So can you, for all of your characters and all the characters you are playing, have a quick review of that, and then I'll quickly go around, and can you tell me, please, which one of your characters can speak with which of the guides? So we'll start off. With Pete. For your two characters, who can you communicate with, please, for Leif?
Leif can speak with Pashkit and Vibronic,
Yep.
because he speaks at 5. So that would work for Pashkit and Cicely. Cicely. And yeah, all 3. So he and Tahoe will be speaking, be limited by Tahoe's 3 for Vibronic. Otherwise, he speaks in Cicely's 4. So, yep.
You'd require some in a stressful situation. You might require a few communication roles, but you can at least communicate. Okay, cool. That's
Cool.
Leif and Mithan.
Yep. Mithan can speak South Tongue to 5, so she's fine speaking to Pashkit, and will speak with at 3 with Cicely.
Yep.
She cannot communicate with Tahoe.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So again, 3 for Cicely, Sissy, I should say. Silsey is his name. Silsey. I should get his pronunciation right. Silsey. Silsey speaks very, very poor South Tongue at 3. So definitely a communication role there. Okay, thanks, Pete. Moving on to Graham for your two characters, please.
Etienne's principal language is Thebronic, so he speaks that to 8 and writes it at 8. Yathiel can also speak Thebronic to 6, so should be alright.
Okay, cool. Again, probably a communication role with a couple of the others, with Silsey and Tahoe, but yeah, with Pashkit, fine. Cool, thank you. Going to Tarquin. Nope. Giles might be having issues with his fire alarm at his hotel. Let's go to both Karios and if you're able to fill in for Demos, that would be helpful too, please.
So Karios speaks none of that.
Right.
And it's also, just a reminder, impaired with a stutter and a -50 for any communication role.
Yep.
Demos speaks South Tongue badly to a 3.
Yep.
And Thebronic is his mother tongue, so he speaks at a 6.
Cool. Okay. So Karios cannot communicate with any of the guides at all.
No.
Cool. So all of this takes a bit longer to communicate. If anything they're saying, because Karios is completely oblivious to what's being said.
And she's ugly.
And she's pretty ugly. Yep.
It's a Tarquin speaks Thebronic to a 10, and he writes it to 10 as well. So no problems there.
Okay. And lastly, Grey. If you don't have it, you're out and about with Grey. I can help you with Grey.
I think I've got his sheet if you want to have a look.
Yeah, that'd be handy. Thank you.
Bit of fun for the morning for us.
Yep.
He speaks South Tongue to a 3, so not great. And I think that's it. Yep.
Right. So Grey, South Tongue to a
3.
A 3. So a 3 in terms of communication. Just to refresh your memory, folks, is 3 is as follows. User can distinguish between major dialects, allows user to communicate on moderately basic concepts in the form of phrases. User can get tone and context from the language when spoken at a normal rate, but no more. They can, however, understand basic phrases when spoken at a slow pace. So, Karios, of anybody, you are the most limited in terms of communicating with these people. And then I think Grey is after that. But yeah, for critical situations, if there's a panic, if there's something that needs to take place, anybody that speaks less than, I think it's a 6. Let me just check the... let me just check. coming. Communication. Here we go. A skill rank of +6 in a language allows free communication on that language. No communication roll needed, assuming both parties have at least rank 6. So, depending on the situation, a communication roll may be needed, just as a heads up. Cool. Thank you for that. Yep.
Chris, what I might do is just, if we have some time with the guides, Etienne will sort of communicate our, in times of stress, shall we say, we'll communicate the little code. It's very simple. Some of the things we shout out to each other. And I'll post those as soon as I can find them. In terms of using the clock for where adversaries are and that kind of thing.
Sure thing. Done. Excellent. Thank you. And if someone felt particularly keen, they could knock up a little table to show, Giles is back. Knock up a quick little table in terms of who can speak to who. That would be really handy if someone felt like doing that. Giles, you're back in the hotel. It hasn't burnt down. That's superb. Excellent. Cool. Very good. So, yes, these two guides, Pashket on screen and Silsi, are there. They communicate that they're ready to take you to Old Man Tilia, and the reason they're asking everybody to go is that this information is Old Man Tilia's family's livelihood, and even though there is an incantation apparently. And by the way, Pashket says this, and you can see that Silsi is, and he did this the previous day, is looking quite dismissive, and when Old Man Tilia's name is mentioned, he just kind of rolls his eyes, and someone who speaks to Bronick thinks they hear the word fraud from under his breath when Old Man Tilia's name is mentioned. But apparently, according to Pashket, those that visit Old Man Tilia and the information he imparts, everybody needs to go because the concern is that the information will be shared to other party members. So therefore it needs to be for everybody that is going to Tarania. When you are ready, Mistress, Masters, we may go.
Sorry, and one thing actually Leif was in the discussion was that, and that Graham is missing is because he cast a forgetting spell.
Correct.
Sorry, Chris, I presume is still on the same day. I'm just keeping track of them in my head.
Next day, it's the 4th.
Yeah, so 7 to go.
I guess we take Tarquin in the coffin. Is it the easiest way of carrying him?
Tarquin has a useful skill of lie perception. He might be paralysed, but he can still use his skills, so that might be helpful if this dude's a fraudster.
Cool.
What do you do?
I think some sort of Nathana will change her appearance, so she'll cast a spell. To turn herself into somebody else.
Yeah, give me a roll. One or two fails, otherwise success.
Oh, I've been away too long.
Forgotten how to do it.
No, I think I remember.
Do the same thing.
Oh, 3. How about that?
Oh! It's only a 1 or a 2 that fails. That spell goes off.
Okay, so she becomes a completely different kind of woman, non-elven, human. Etienne will. Well, actually, he's not wanted, is it? Yeah, he is. Well, he's going to have to wear a hood.
Just a question for Etienne. Etienne has no left hand.
Yes.
He has.
He does.
He does. Yes, he has like a metal hand that he screws in.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he, when he's out and about, presumably it would... I can't remember, Graham, we did put it in the chat. You've got it handy, I'm sure, if you pardon the pun. How long it takes him to screw in his shields, and he presumably needs help to do that, I remember. Don't need to get it now, but just as a heads up, something to check. Because we've kind of glossed over that in the past, but we should nail that down. You and I talked about this, and we did decide it. So we'll go back and find it. But yes.
Yeah.
So Etienne has no hands. Tarquin's currently paralysed. Karios has been burnt to all hell and suffers a whole bunch of disabilities. Yeah, you guys are rocking it. Neanderthal, you now have changed your features. Any other preparations that anybody else is doing?
How long will we be gone for?
Oh, who's asking?
Tarquin.
Okay, Tarquin's presumably upstairs, lying on a mattress, and
I'm still with it.
These guys are downstairs.
Leif will ask the same question.
Funny that. At least half a day for Old Man Tilia, for the ritual to take place. It's called the Scant of the Red Gate, I believe, and again, Silsey just goes.
Of the Red Gate.
Scant of the Red Gate.
Leif and Mathan will change their appearance as much as they possibly can, wearing hoods.
It is raining,
whatever
so
they
it
can.
Kind of makes sense that you're keeping your hoods down. Yep.
Yeah. Stooping or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just while I think of it, while in conversation with our guides, it rains a lot around here and in the swamp. When we camp overnight, what do they generally do?
Get wet.
Right. Okay. They don't take cover or anything. There's no downside to that.
Additional weight. They're already carrying so much food, water, oil, etc. A tent is a luxury. You can bring a tent if you can carry it, but
no. I just want to make sure I wasn't going to be lumbered with a minus or something. All good.
Karios is already disguised permanently, thanks to this game. So she's not recognisable, and Demos will do what the others do.
Okay. And Grey and Grey. See you, Giles.
So Grey will also disguise himself as much as possible. Oh no, he doesn't need to. He's not known. So Grey will just come along for the ride, I guess.
Cool. All those able to walk assemble downstairs. What do you do?
Well, I assume we're taking Tarquin in the coffin.
I don't know what you're doing.
Well, that's what I mentioned. But what do we think?
Maybe not. It was going to attract quite a lot of attention, if that's all right.
So how do we carry him between us?
Well, he could just fly upstairs if they don't know he exists. I mean, he could just stay. And if they're going to make a fuss, then he'll need to go, won't he?
Yeah, I think if someone's paralysed from the neck down, it's it's worth a note from Mum to say he couldn't make it.
Good. So Pashket looks around. This is all of you. All of you going to Tarek Nev. Old Man Tilia is insistent.
Okay. So one of our number is paralysed from the neck down.
Why is he coming with us, Master?
He's our lucky totem. We carry him everywhere. Because we expect him to make a full recovery. But just for the sake of dragging him across town by his feet, it would be
Will he be coming to Tarek Nev, Master?
Well, we hope so. Yeah.
Well, then in that case, I know that Old Man Tilia will not consent to casting the Scant of the Red Gate until all are present. I can ask him to delay if you wish.
Nope. Well, that's bloody annoying.
Can we float him upright?
I think that might
just shuffle along with him?
Right, the Mother Superior from the Blues Brothers. I think.
Are you? By the way, Master, to check, he will be well enough. He will be well enough to go with us when we leave in 2 days' time. Is that correct?
About the stretcher.
Oh yes, yes. Good news. We have found a stretcher, a camp bed, leather and wood. It weighs 25 pounds. And it costs 35 silver pieces. There is another one we have located, which is a camp bed, cloth and wood, which weighs 15 pounds and costs 15 silver pieces. Which would you prefer?
Etienne will attempt to describe. Well, in with a through Bronica, he should be okay. He'll sketch out what he had in mind in terms of a. I'm thinking of a piece of canvas strung between two poles.
That's what they're talking about.
Oh, okay, so simple. There's nothing more complex about it than that. So we could wrap it up if necessary.
Oh, a stretcher. That is.
Yeah.
A stretcher.
That's exactly what I mean.
A stretcher. You could get for half that price and half that weight.
That would be ideal.
Okay, which one? The one made out of just simply cloth and canvas, or a more reinforced, better quality one made from cloth, canvas, and wood? And leather, wood, and canvas.
Well, the poles, wood, leather, and canvas. The bit in between.
Yes, reinforced, better quality.
Well,
strong,
that one then.
Strong. Okay, so that is 17.5 silver, and it weighs 12 pounds 50. That's 12.5 pounds, I should say.
I'll take it off the price, off the money.
And okay. Would you like me to purchase that? I was able to find it relatively easily.
Thank you. Yeah. So explain what's the downside of this. Is there any different? Well, we haven't got a choice. But yeah. Yes. Thanks. That'd be great.
Certainly. I'll purchase it and have it later today if you wish.
Great. So should we pop? Maybe Tarquin, if you mind getting in the box. I think probably the best thing to do is to be another funeral party.
But to check, he will, your companion, as this is Pashket saying this, as Tarquin is brought downstairs in the coffin. Actually, Tarquin and Karios are about the same size. So actually, yeah, it would probably work. Tarquin's not tall, and neither's Karios. So yeah, okay. So Pashket and Silcia are looking at each other going, what the fuck?
It's not ideal.
He will be well enough to journey with us in 2 days, Master, no?
We're going to have to carry him, unfortunately. Where that's the situation we're in. But he'll be ready and well once we cross the Sea of Fire. Can you foresee a problem?
Yes. We are traveling to one of the most snake, insect, and undead infested places. Arguably one of the most dangerous places we know of. And you are taking... it is your wish, of course, Master, but to leave this man for even a short period of time would presumably be a death sentence, I would imagine. But if that's your wish, we can certainly take him.
Well, it's the situation we find ourselves in, unfortunately.
As described...
No,
sure, we understand. As we described to you before, we will, of course, defend ourselves. And again, he taps the very, very high... pretty much exact... Not pretty much. It looks exactly that. High-quality falchion to the side. I and Silci, we know how to use these weapons, and we have used them before. Our role, however, with respect, Master, Mistresses, is not to fight. We will fight, and we will fight alongside you, if required. But where possible, we will avoid conflict. And we are here to guide you. We are not here, ultimately, to fight and to defeat the twice living. If we need to flee, I'm sorry, Master, we will flee.
Yep, understood. I don't expect you to, die in our cause. We too are very heavily armored, and even our man, our paralyzed man, has means of defending himself even without weapons. So we will stick by you and all the way, and I'm sure together we'll overcome any adversaries that come our way.
Silsi looks at the coffin, and Tarquin in the coffin, looks back at Pashket, and they both look at the coffin, and Silsi says something, presumably in Nureti, and Pashket just bursts out laughing and slaps Silsi on the shoulder, and they're both just grinning. Certainly, Master. Certainly, Master. I'm sure everything will just be fine.
Yeah, well, maybe the coffin will come in handy, huh?
Yes, Master.
Leif will just ask, just sort of, if it's okay for him to sort of chime in, we'll just ask if they've got any news on the other party, on the progress of the other party.
No news. We have been discreetly checking, but nothing yet.
Thank you.
We do know that they have been to Old Mantilia some days ago.
So Tarquin goes from being, just so everybody else in the party is totally aware, completely paralysed to being as if like a spell like magically totally well. I think, Chris, check if I'm wrong, but in 7 days. Because this was day 3, so he's got 7 to go.
Spell was cast on all 3 spells were cast on the second.
That's correct.
So 10 days. 2 plus 10 is 12. So actually 11 days. 11 days, considering he cast it on the 12th. So hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So you don't know, of course, Tarquin, but you're assuming you will be able to function on the 11th. And as mentioned to you in the chat previously, Giles, if you can find anything and that says otherwise, let me know. Cool.
Yeah. And what day is it today? The 5th?
Today, no. Today is the 4th.
4th. Yeah, so 7 days.
Yep. Very good. What do you
if we run into trouble, we'll have to just float you. Or float the stretcher, rather. Or levitate you or something. And you can levitate yourself, can't you?
No, I don't have levitation.
Oh, okay. That'll be good. Just pop you 30 foot up in the air.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Excellent. I can't wait to see how this turns out. What do you do, please, guys?
Well, we're going to see this old man and then we're coming back here, or is the plan to just keep going after that?
Off to see Old Man Tilia, and then you travel to Tarik Nev on the 6th, is the plan.
I think Tarquin would be pretty keen to try and convince them to stay.
Okay, cool. What do you do right here, right now, please?
He's in the coffin. We're off to see Old Mantilia, I think.
Okay. Wrapped up as you are, you head out. You weave through the streets of Tarik Nev. sorry, of Tarknev. Goodness, I'm getting ahead of myself. Of Landania. The damage from the earthquake, some 2-3 weeks back, or 3 weeks ago now, is still apparent in some places. It's probably not as bad as that, but yeah, it's the city is looking pretty the worse for wear in some places. But then again, it appears as though Landania has always looked a bit the worse for wear. You trudge your way through the streets, and you find yourselves in this neighborhood here. And you're taken by your guy. You don't attract... Oh, you attract some attention, yes, but not a massive amount. Shouldering Tarquin's coffin. Tarquin, by the way, do you have the lid on, or are you awake and around and alert as this is happening?
I'm paralysed. I don't really get to say, but he'd prefer not to have the lid on.
Sure. Sorry, that's a poor question by me. Do the others put the lid on the coffin?
Nail it down, yeah.
Nail it down. Excellent.
Yeah, he needs to breathe through that.
Okay. So you're taken to a house relatively similar to this building here. Covered in ivy, covered in moss, quite tall, about 4 or 5 stories. And you head inside. And you're greeted by a number of other Nureti who clearly know both Silsi and Pashket. You're welcomed in, and they certainly give you some very strange looks at Karios' hideous appearance. Firstly, Etienne without his hand, or with a golden hand, or with a silver hand, or whatever he has. But most critically, the fact you're trotting around with a coffin, which isn't at all weird, is it? You come inside, and you're taken upstairs. Seated in a room, some tea. Tastes a bit like muddy water. It's not very nice, but you have a sip or two. You're seated in this area, and in this, I guess you'd say, like audience or sitting room area. And finally, after some time, maybe 15-20 minutes, this man comes into the room. He's grinning and he's smiling. Welcome, he says in Thebronic. And he introduces himself, for those that speak Thebronic, as Old Man, perhaps unnecessarily, as Old Man Tilia. And he says the following, and I am going to pop this into people's chats that speak Thebronic, and you can share it with those that don't in a second. There you go, there's Old Man Tilia. And so Graham, Pete, and Giles, all of your characters, one of your characters speak Thebronic. Yes? Just give me a nod or a yes.
Yep.
Cool.
Or both.
Karios, yours don't, I believe. Is that right?
Demos does.
Demos does.
Oh, Demos does? Fine. In that case, I'm gonna read it out, because actually all of the characters you're playing understand. So,
Chris.
Yeah.
Just because I've never done it before, Tarquin wants to use his lie perception to make sure that what this man is saying, he at least believes to be true.
Sure. So I'll describe a little bit about Old Man Tilia's reaction to dealing with a guy in a box in a second. And lie perception, you'd have, I'm going to say, at least a negative 50, because you can't see him. Correct. Well.
Why not?
Out of courtesy,
They can just prop me up so I can see him.
Someone prop up? Okay. Okay. You can just give me a perception, please. I'll come to that in a second. I'll just set the scene a little bit. So, Old Man Tilia is, he comes in, he takes a seat in the most comfortable chair in the room and looks around you all, and he doesn't have a lot of teeth, and he kind of dribbles quite a lot. There's quite a lot of kind of drool coming down his chin, but he's got bright, kind of inquisitive eyes, and he seems very jovial and quite friendly. He comes in, he slaps Pashkit on the shoulder, kind of nods at Silsey. Silsey nods back, clear isn't a lot of love lost between them, and sits down. Pashkit says something to this man in, you're now discovering the language is Nureti. You don't understand it, but they talk. And then finally, this man turns to you and says the following in Thebronic. Yes. I can help. My great grandfather fought at the terrible battle for Tarak Nev with that demon bitch Vramaver and her forces were there and all. And that was the beginning of the defeat of the fall of Scarthus in 1633, I say. No one actually remembers that the first defeat of Scarthus was actually outside our walls, outside our ancient walls. And he sighs. They only talk about the later battles. But the very first blow for freedom, and he kind of sucks it in, and a kind of a string of drool kind of comes down his chin, and he spits a bit. One of his what apparently in-laws comes up and mops away the dribble with a handkerchief. Yes, no one ever remembers. Anyway, my ancestor, the mighty warrior Fanya Tillard, was there, badly wounded, blinded, and injured while the battle raged. But later, when he was there, Brahmaver ensnared the demons that now guards the Red Gate. And though he was blind and he had only his ears, he told us the tale. And the most important thing, he thinks, is the demon's true name. And I can provide this knowledge. Yes, I can. And he dribbles again and kind of drool spreads down his chin. Gets quite excited at this. But there are three things I demand. The first is that all of you who take part in the Scant of the Red Gate must pay me and my family, and he looks around his very numerous family that are peering into the room, quite fascinated at the guy in the box, the guy missing a hand, and the ugly woman with the cat and no face, must pay me 10 gold pennies each. All of you must pay, even if you do not take our knowledge, in case somehow your fellows share it with you. All of you must pay. That's the first thing. Secondly, you must agree to take part in the ritual, which takes half a day. This day, we are ready today. This ritual is called the Scant of the Red Gate. It will make you forget what you have learned here today instantly, as soon as you step outside my house and you hear Silsey just go, bullshit. Old man Tilly kind of looks and just gives him a withering stare and continues. This ritual will make you forget all of what you've learnt here once you've left my house, only to remember it again once you're in sight of the walls of Tarak Nev, and then you forget it again forever once you depart the Red City. Thirdly, in case somehow, miraculously, and I have no idea how, you do manage to recall what you've learnt by the Scant of the Red Gate, dribbles a bit, you must make a solemn vow on your soul on the altar of our dark mistress, Orgiana. And he points at this stage to a large statue in the corner of the room, this statue. You must make a vow in front of our mistress and in front of all of us that you will never divulge what you have learnt. This knowledge, and he looks around his very large family, and there's definitely a very strong family resemblance amongst them all. This knowledge is my family's lifeblood. And may the Dark Mistress take you forever, if you share our secret. Do you, friends? And he smiles, beams around you, and stares at Tarquin in the box. And yep, coming up. Yep, coming up on the lie check in a second. Do you agree to our 3 terms? Tarquin, make your roll.
Okay, actually, Chris, Tarquin will do 3 things if he can.
Yep.
So he's going to check for lie perception. He has demon and devil lore, and he wants to interrogate his demon and devil lore to see if this rings true. So even if this guy thinks he is telling the truth, he wants to check to see if it fits with his understanding of lore, if that makes sense to you.
Yep.
And he's got this skill in history, history and belief, and I wonder if he can interrogate his knowledge of the history of the gods to see if it all fits together.
So 3 separate rolls. Let's. I mean, they're all kind of intertwined, but we will make 3 separate rolls. Let's make a masked dice roll. Firstly, for the lie perception, please.
91. Can we make it unmasked?
Sorry, no. But I will ask you to roll again. Could be very bad. Could be very good.
90.
90. Cool. And what's his life perception?
75.
Okay. I'm just going to head to your Discord, Tarquin, propped up in your coffin, as you are. Not that this is weird at all. And I'm typing something now. No one else can see this. No. Okay. You wanted to make the other 2 rolls?
Yep.
Demon and Devil Lore, give me a roll. Again, this is must.
37.
Okay. Yep, and what's the skill?
His skill is 28.
Okay. Alright. Okay. And then the third and final.
N- 96.
Again, mast. And this is for the this is the history.
Yep.
Yep. And what's his skill on that, please?
43.
Okay. Okay. 3 results, 3 pieces of information in your chat. Tarquin.
And he'll lean towards whoever's closest to him or prop them up and say, pretty certain he believes himself.
Okay. Any other actions from anybody else I should be aware of?
Yeah, so Etienne would like to just respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Speaking
by saying...
Thebronic, by the way, I should have said. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So he'll reply in a Thebronic, and he's quite eloquent. I was born of a goddess, the force that moves the stars and the waves of the sea and couples the animals in the fields in spring, the power of passion and the light of the evening star. She is my mother, the blood mother, the mother of fierce compassion, the mother of the great womb, large enough to hold all the pain and carried away. She is the mother who will breathe for us when we cannot breathe any more. I will vow on the goddess to fulfill your requests. And if she wills it and she is in accord with your goddess, then all will be well. But I cannot bow down to another goddess and vow in her name. I hope you'll understand, sir, that my religious persuasions do not allow me to do that. However, I am a man of my word. And if I vow something in the goddess's name, it is a done deed.
Old Man Tilia looks at you and he slurps and some dribble rolls down onto his shirt. It's actually getting quite damp on the front of his shirt. Nods at your words and then beckons over some of his relatives, and they have quite a hasty, quite frenetic conversation. And Old Man Tilia then sits back and says, "Friend, we understand that you are no doubt a good man, and that you pray to false gods. That is your choice. But we think you are a good man. We will accept. We will accept. Your god is heresy, of course, because she doesn't exist. But if you believe her, and well, that's good enough for us. We will take that, and I'm sure the Dark Goddess will smile on you. Smile on you, of course, laughingly, but smile on you nonetheless.
Well, he'll laugh at that, good-naturedly, and make an appropriate response in terms of. He doesn't actually. He would say he would not deny the existence of any god. For there are many gods, and there are many ways to the truth. But be assured, my lady moves among us. She walks in fresh fields. Her tracks are on the land. She is everywhere and no place in a state not contained by man, in a church not made with hands.
Very good, very good. May Orgiana, the Dark Mistress, take you and bind you. Good friend. Do you agree to our terms? He says, looking at all of you.
Etienne turns to the party. What do you think, chaps?
How much money is it exactly?
10 each. 10 gold each.
It's pretty pricey.
I mean,
We got the money.
Yeah, we do. We've got the money.
It's like 10,000 coppers. So we give the soldiers 6 for bringing us home, and we give this guy 10,000 for a bit of information.
Do we have a choice though?
Well, I don't know. Who? None of us can trade, right?
No.
Oh, my thing came much doesn't. Well, not very well. She doesn't speak the language.
Do you want to borrow the?
She's got
Discovered to my chagrin, sometimes trading is not great.
In fact, the price if you roll badly.
Demos has got
and
it.
some things become unavailable. So if you roll really badly, you go from possible to totally impossible.
Bit dumb, isn't it? But by being
The in-game representation of that is you manage to offend your potential seller so much that they are no longer interested in dealing with you.
there better be a lot of big pot of cash where we're going. I'll tell you, because we need to replenish our funds somewhat.
Karios says sorry and looks bashful, not that she understands, but this is what you've got for your money. Where's my eyeliner? I think we do it.
I think we'll have to.
3. Yeah.
All right.
Going to go negative 10 off everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Etienne will turn and nod to the man and say, we would value your law and advice and with gratitude.
Good,
we
good, good.
accept your terms. I just have one term of my. We have one term of our own, however, which I would implore upon yourself and your family.
Yes.
And I too would, since we are in the presence of gods, I too would value you and your good family to also swear an oath, since we are in the business of swearing oaths. That the knowledge that you have deny all knowledge of ever meeting us, seeing us. We were never here. We have never asked you. You've never seen us. You have no knowledge of us. And I would be very grateful if you and your family would swear upon that.
Yes, no, certainly no problem. Oriana, darkest mistress, she who takes us and will be forever. We have never seen these people. Sons, daughters, do the same.
That's the spirit.
And they kind of look a bit incredulously at great-great-grandpa and kind of bow down to the statue in the room.
Do either of my characters know who this god is?
Never heard of her. Well, you could try general knowledge.
How about religious law?
Yeah, you can give me a religious lore if you wish.
I do.
Cool. Roll.
68 plus... This is Etienne.
Yep.
68 plus 18.
Cool. Coming into Etienne's chat right now. Some information.
Could Karios have a go as well? Is
Sure.
it old god's law or no?
These are definitely not old gods, but you can always try.
Okay.
You can always try with any.
No,
skill.
it's okay.
You can always try with any skill.
But they're not old, like the nature, the wild.
You can
No, it's okay.
You can try. You can try
It's
anything. Okay. Anybody else do or say anything? Okay. Etienne or Nathaniel?
She only has old god law, so no, I don't think so.
Oh, you can try.
No, give it a crack, yeah. I mean,
Sure.
that kind of resembles... Yeah. Yep, sure, here we go.
Sure.
79. Do I get half for old god's law?
You can give it to me. The chance of getting... Anyway, yep. What's the skill?
Old god's law plus 37.
37. Unrelated religion, so you know, maybe you picked up something from somewhere elsewhere, but some information coming into Nathaniel's chat.
Nathaniel, give it a go too.
Yep, give me a roll.
She's got a religious studies.
Yep.
That's the
So
skill.
Very academic.
Takes me back to school.
She rolled a 49.
49, and her skill, please.
23.
I've got plus 39 in home economics.
Does Miranda know?
Not me, my character.
Going into Mithan's channel now.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
All right. Anything else, guys? Nope. Okay.
What's Victory doing, can I ask? And Wingy? Where are the critters?
Wingy is definitely left back. Grey has decided to leave Wingy. I'm making a decision here unless you say otherwise. Yep, cool, thank you. Wingy is still back at the residence. Victory is just tagging along behind you. With you.
She's okay though, not stressed out, freaked out.
Not at this stage.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Nothing else? Going once? Going twice? Okay. So, Old Man Tilia, after you've paid over the money, and he does count the money, big smiles, friendly guy, jovial guy, takes you upstairs, and definitely a number of his family are with you, and they start changing, a number of them start changing into different garments, into a number of robes, and you're taken upstairs into this room. Old Man Tilia says to you all, this is where we perform the scant of the Red Gate. And this will take several hours. And what I need you to do, please, is I need you to focus on this. And he brings up a single, and it is single, a single one of these. Now, a number of you have seen these before. Some of you have seen these before. These are memory stones. And he puts the single memory stone in the center here. Please sit around around where I've put the stone in a circle, and all of you must align yourselves with the stone. I will help you, and I will help you understand the stone. This will take some time, several hours. So please, if you need to attend to nature's call, or you need something to eat or drink, please do that now. You make yourselves ready, and you all sit down. And then Old Man Tilia and his relatives begin to chant. And the sounds of the city falls away almost in the background. Still there, but suddenly, along with the incense and the smells of this room and the sounds of this room begin to dominate your senses. The first is a drum. And the people in the room start slowly to chant. One of the members of the group picks up a musical instrument. And another attends to a gong in the corner of the room. A third picks up a flute. And after about half an hour or so, strange flickerings around the lines and the symbols on the ground start to shimmer and twist. And Old Man Tilia slowly and quietly instructs you all to reach down and to touch the stone in the center of that circle surrounded by flame. He says, don't look into the flame, concentrate only on the stone. And what I'd like all 8 characters, and Tarquin is taken out of his box and propped up on cushions, and his hand is touching the stone, not that he can necessarily feel it, is for each one of you to roll an attunement, and all I'm interested in from all characters is no failures. Don't roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody please make a roll for the characters that you're running and tell me if anybody makes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please don't.
Tarquin and Grey are fine.
Thank you.
Faith and Mathana.
Nathaniel and Etienne are fine.
Demos and Karios are fine.
And bit by bit, the knowledge and the understanding of this item in front of you begins to swell and envelop your brain. And you hear at the same time some other chanting. Dark and sinister. out of the mists of time, and through this deep and strong, powerful ritual magic, you learn the following. Coming into main game chat now. Uploading now. Have a read. GM is going to quickly head to the bathroom, and then I'd like somebody, for the benefit of our viewers and our listeners, to read out what you see and what your characters see and experience. Just going to switch the volume down a smidge. Have a read. I'll be back in a second.
So this Amarishi people, right? Are they the ones that we saw statues of in the other realm?
The winged people?
Yeah.
I imagine so. There was another link I forgot to mention in the... Yeah.
Alright folks, GM is back. Can I ask somebody, do I have a volunteer for someone to read this out?
Go on, someone. I'd rather not.
Come on, don't be shy.
Yeah, I can. I'm just a bit slow.
Thanks, Pete.
Happy to. Do you want me to read from the very beginning?
Yeah,
Or,
the whole
okay.
lot.
So this is the memory stone of Thanatilia. Memory stone. The memory stone is a mental image recording of the following monologue, and we've all attuned it. It's got a mixture of images and sensations and speech. The language is strange. It's the language that the Narishi seem to speak, which we normally don't understand, but I assume that we do with this thing.
You do.
So the stone has an image of an old man. We've got a picture of him there. He looks similar hat and clothing style to our guide. So, yeah, understandably. Standing somewhere outside with water behind him, the sun is shining. The quality of the image is grainy and hard to make out. As the old man moves, the image seems to flicker and warp. There's a sensation of hot air and the stink of the swamp, which smells like the Alameda. We sort of join just as the old man is on to his right and hear someone cough just out of our field of vision. And the old man says, "I shall begin now." And he turns to someone just out of the view. In other words, says, "Yes, grandsire." And then he says, "Yes, good. My name is Thanatilia, and this is my story. I was born a refugee in 1613. Like all of our people, I yearned to return to our homeland, see the good walls of Tarak never again, and to defeat the Scarthus hordes and to drive them from our ancestors' islands of Aranmore. When I was 20 years old, I heard talk of a secret force, only 3,000 strong, of Narishi refugees, aided by winged allies, that was being massed to walk undetected through the swamps of the Alameda and assault Tarakneb and win back our lands. The brave assault was only possible as the main Scarthus horde was busy fighting to the north and west. Taking my father's spear, I enlisted and was given the noble job of assistant cook, first class, apparently a role befitting my talent. Our trip from the east of the Freelands to the East Cantana Sea and through the horrendous swamp of Greenfester are too terrible and unbelievable to recount. Saunders and takes a deep breath. I won't describe what happened here, but all you need to know is that we lost many, many men. By the time we reached Arranmore and the walls of Tarracnev, we had lost more than 1/3 of our men. I'd been given a new spear and told I had to fight. It was only there emerging from the terrible jungle of the Weir Forest that we first met our allies. Beautiful and terrible they were, tall, more than 7 feet, winged men and women, strong of arm and great users of magic. M.E.R.P, they called themselves, and their captain was Agamemnon Raz, mightiest of all. Some said they were not from our world, but from another place. They hated the Twice Living, and had come to our world to defeat them and the great evil that created them. The M.E.R.P had brought with them a number of champions from our world, who they seemed to know and respect. An Arab seer from the north, named Al-Vestar, a great magician from Vargas, Magnus, and a warrior mage, Bal-Orach the Valiant, a high elf from the small elven kingdom of Linden in the Sea of Lysander. There were others, but these 3 in particular were most prominent, and some including knew our people in Tarracnev very well. Bal-Orach, a great friend of our people, claimed, for example, was actually one of the defenders of Tarracnev when it fell some 60 or 70 years ago. He told me he wanted to get back to the sea, both to see us, the Nereti, back in our rightful place, but also to see if many of his great and wondrous magical books might still lie within Tarracnev's walls. Along with our ragtag army of Nereti, this then was the force that we assaulted Tarracnev with. Glowing gold, with expansive orange crimson wings, the M.E.R.P looked like vengeful angels come to earth. Its skin was translucent, and a great light shone from within their handsome forms. Led by the proud Agamemnon Raz, they made a fearsome army. As the M.E.R.P reached the perimeter of Tarracnev, we and they were barraged by a volley of terrible attacks from the loathsome bird-like statues on the wall. Many of us and several winged warriors were badly wounded, and many more were killed, but we continued to pass the city's wall. Tarracnev was not unprepared. The military might of that demon queen bitch, the thrice accursed Varamavir, prepared for battle. She and her terrible flaming demon chariot, along with unholy horrors, legions of the Twice Living, and the demons fell upon us. Using the unique ability to ignore stone, the M.E.R.P soon had set Tarracnev aflame, and we Nereti also acquitted ourselves bravely. The battle at the gate and then into the very city of Tarracnev, while horrific, was brief, and the day was nearly won, when a single figure emerged from the town square and forced the M.E.R.P and our surviving forces, Tilak, champion of Varamavir. This mighty warrior stepped forward, rallying a surviving group of foul things and Twice Living. As the M.E.R.P blazed flame over and around him, Tilak laughed. Some of the M.E.R.P were afraid, but their leader, Agamemnon Raz, gave them courage. I was in the front line at that point, and just as we pressed forward again, a gout of demon blood splashed across my face, and I was in agony and could not see. Stumbling from the fray, I was helped by someone, a Nereti man who was also wounded, and we staggered away from the horror of the square. After a time, my guide, who saved my life, but whose name I never learnt, told me in hushed tones that we were out of the city and across the bridge, at the gates to the city, and the start of their passage. Here, he said to me, let us sit a while among the dead and rest. And I must have passed out because I knew no more. When I woke, I was still blind, as I am today, and it was silent around me. All sounds of the battle had ceased. I whispered to my companion, my saviour who had lain down beside me, but he did not speak. Feeling under the darkness of my ruined eyes, my pain, I realised he was dead. Right at the moment I heard a sound, that of a chariot wheel and the crackle of flame. Varamavir. Perhaps some 30 or 40 feet away from me, I guessed. The noise of the chariot stopped, and I heard what I could imagine was her voice. So it has come to this. If I can't have the city, then no one shall enter it again. I played dead, lying amongst the other bodies, at least by the smell and touch of what was around me. After a time, the woman's voice began to chant, and it wasn't in M.E.R.P, but rather some dark and terrible language. The chanting increased, and then I started to hear other sounds, terrible sounds, and the snap and crackle of powerful magic. This went on for what seemed like hours until, finally, the chanting and the noise built into a crescendo, and then, suddenly, a demonic scream and a mighty crash, and then silence. Not a sound, not the insects or the birds or anything. And then finally the woman's voice again, who said, Taragla stood, or was it Taragla Strod, or Taragla Stroud? One of those three names at least. My pain was terrible, you understand, and it was a long time ago. Her voice went on. You are summoned and you are bound, and you shall guard the gate. We are defeated, and if I cannot control Tarek Nev, no one will. You shall guard the gate evermore. Do you understand, and do you obey? And then a voice, more loathsome and hideous than one that sent fear for my very soul through me, simply replied, I obey and understand, mistress. With that, shortly after the sounds of the chariot started again, heading back into the city. Yes, this is an amazing tale, totally unbelievable, some would say. Even more unbelievable, though, is how I, a blinded soldier, managed to crawl away from that terrible gate. Happened to be found by 5 of the most generous and kind and ready soldiers who, like me, survived the terrible battle and who, after months of horror and struggling, helped me back through the swamps of the Alamein and back to safety. Though sadly, we were reduced to 3 to come out that green hell. And here I am now, an old man, an old soldier, telling the incredible tale to you, my grandson, so that it may help our family in the future. Then there's the image of the old man sighing and walking away, and then the stone fades black.
And all of a sudden, the ritual stops. And you all come to the vision of this old man speaking to you from the dim, dark past fades, and you're back in this room. It's nearly empty now, apart from old man Tillich, who checks on you all and smiles at each one of you. Are you all safe? Are you all well? He says.
So they are.
Yep.
Fascinating tale.
When you leave my house, you will have no recollection of what you have learnt. I am no trickster. I am no conjurer of cheap tricks.
I'm familiar.
But rather, you have experienced deep and powerful magic on this day. And when you are within the sight of the walls of our homelands, of Tarek Nev, you will remember this. And it will stay with you, and this knowledge will stay with you until you leave the island of Arranmore. Please now, walk up to our mistress and pray to her, and he nods at Etienne, to an appropriate god, false god perhaps, of your choosing, and vow that for any reason, if any way in which you should manage to beat our deep magic, you pray to Orgiana, mistress of the dark, may she take you and have you forever, that you do not breathe a word of what you have learnt here. Please, come and pray. And he beckons for all 8 characters, with the exception of Tarquin, who needs to be carried, to come up and to kneel before the statue of Orgiana, Mistress of the Dark. Does anybody not do that, or do anything else, or do anything I need to know about?
Well, both Etienne and Nathan will pray to their own gods.
Okay.
And we'll pray to her own god.
Tarquin's good to go. I don't know enough about Grey to know what Grey would do.
Okay.
Leif will help Tarquin move,
Okay.
and Leif will say to Orgiana because he doesn't have anyone else. And Leif's also got a question for Old Mantilia as well.
Sure.
If he feels it's appropriate, he will say, that vision was incredible, and he's certainly got useful information.
Mm-hmm.
But is there more information you can tell us? I mean, the main thing we learnt was the demon's name, but what does that do for us?
I don't know.
I could shoot away, Chris. I'm not clear here, but so would this be the sort of thing that might be part of demon and devil lore? What a demon's name is used for?
Generally, names in demonology and all magic is powerful. You would know that.
Yep. I mean, I suppose Leif would know that. He would acknowledge that and say that is a great weapon indeed. Any other thoughts on how to use this knowledge? Any other? Just wanting to check for any other information, basically.
None of my family themselves have ever been to Tarek. This is all the information I can give you.
Leif will be grateful for that, definitely.
Karios and Demos? Oh, can't hear you, Karios or Demos. Oops, and she's trying to connect. Hello? No, still can't hear you. That's annoying.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Gotcha.
Oh!
Gotcha now.
Sorry, I've got funny headphones. Karios will go and pray, but she'll throw in a little prayer to the weather gods and Mother Nature and Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Go Captain Planet. And I can't see Demos doing anything else besides going and praying.
Okay, sure thing. Excellent.
Etienne will dutifully, respectfully mark the moment and so forth. When there's an appropriate moment, once that's finished, he will ask if that have many people undertaken this ceremony, and if has anybody lately taken it? Other travellers.
So, old man Tilia turns to you and smiles his toothless grin. Yes, over the years, maybe once every 5-10 years, some treasure seeker, some seeker of knowledge will venture to the dead city. Some come back. Some come back in one piece. Although, I see you're lacking in pieces, my friend, so you should take, and he looks down at Etienne's missing hand, you should take extra care. Ha ha ha! Thinks that's hilarious. In terms of have others of late? Maybe. In the same way that you've asked for secrecy about your own coming and going, I would counter that by saying that others might have asked the same of you. Of me. Of them. Any other actions from anybody?
I guess before we leave, and if there's an appropriate time to just for a bit of response among the characters, not necessarily to who is gathered, but I guess Etienne's quite interested in all this talk of the M.E.R.P and how this corresponds with the ruins that we stalked around in the in-between, and but also the fact that the M.E.R.P the Arab seer from the north, El Vestar, appears to be side of the M.E.R.P, who are in opposition to the undead. And if they're in opposition to the undead, might El Vestar also then be... Pete, did you say that El Vestar is in alliance with the TTP has probably been. Huh?
No. Exactly like was read there. Elvis fought against the forces of Southus.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So-
all the information. But also that someone meeting. Well, there was an Arab seer from the north hunting around Landania for us.
Right. Yeah, but that was unrelated. Right. So if he could get over the fact that we, in his case, liberating his fortress, we took a few things and then lost them. If he could get over that, he might be then an ally for us.
Agreed. We have to be very tentative about how to approach him. So I agree.
Or
Yeah.
Or it might burn you with hellfire. It all depends.
He might. Well, we'll see. But we might better, implore about his good nature, or offer to, once this is all over, make good on what happened. We did it unknowingly. So if we've got a shared cause, he might put that aside for a wee while. Who knows? Good to know, though.
What do you do?
I don't like the sound of flying statues. Better watch out for them. Anything else anybody wants to talk about this before we forget it?
I feel like we could benefit from watching the never-ending story together for some tips.
Okay, well let's log. Let's
Movie night, one night.
definitely. And I like the sound of wondrous magic books. Let's get some of them in.
Yep. Well, that's what Lifestyle is. He would be very pleased to hear his confirmation that the guy he's been interested in is there. Also, I would say that leads credence to this guy's story.
Yeah,
Lash always has had knowledge. I don't know where exactly he got this information from. I suppose he asked the man. What was it? Who got that? Karios described to him. Yeah, Leif would be keen to find out.
Okay.
So, and I guess when we get to the walls then, walls, the perimeter attack nav, barraged by a volley of terrible attacks from loathsome bird-like statues. One to consider when we get to the walls. Is there anything else in here that was useful in terms of Tarknev itself? Anyway. Yeah. So we got 3 options for a name. Either Stud, Strod, or Stroud.
Anything else, guys?
Not for me.
Okay.
No, me neither.
And we seem to have lost Giles, I think.
Yeah, well, I've exposed him as well.
Sorry,
Was
Pete.
that, what was the plan for finishing time? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, I mean, we could end it there. I'd be quite keen to push on to another 15 minutes if we could.
Yep. Fine by me.
Others?
Yeah, all good.
Yep, fine by me.
Okay. Did Giles leave a message elsewhere? Did he go?
He did say he had to go.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did say he had to go.
Okay. Maybe he put a note in chat. Okay. You leave the house as described. This one. Oh, I've lost it. No. One of these. Can't see it for looking. You leave the house and you go back out the streets of Tarknev. In short order, you're back at the safe house. And any other actions for the remaining couple of days before you and your companions head off to the Navigator column? Other than the shopping for herbs of under that value that I gave, which I'm happy, Pete, for you to do. otherwise.
Can I, oh, sorry.
There you go.
I was just going to query, not related to this session, with Karios and her magic powers, should she be like practicing, or was she just going to let rip with her fire, or like is she, with her injuries and her deficits?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shame she's so ugly, but I'm just trying to get the bit of, she has got, a -10 to all actions. Like, she knows this. It's not like she's suddenly going to do a spell and it...
No, she's aware of her... She's aware of the impositions on her. She's aware that she's slower. She's aware that... She probably is unaware of the pain aspect, because she hasn't taken damage. But the other aspects, yes, she's visibly... The fact she can't use her arm, all the others. So it's not going to come as a shock for her.
Okay, and has she got full power points?
Yes.
And, sorry, were they as they were before?
Whatever that new character sheets.
Oh, is where...
Yep.
Yeah, I've got it. Hit points and power. Okay, yep. Sorry, everyone. Thank you.
Right. No, don't be sorry. So,
I didn't know if she had to go start practicing her firebombing to get it right for the, the critters. Okay, cool.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else,
sorry, there was. Leif was. I know that Tarquin was keen to reopen a discussion about if we should wait. And Leif was keen to just to double check if we have a group discussion if we should wait for Tarquin to get better, or are we quite keen that we've got to go?
I think we should go though with that other party, shouldn't we? I mean, how we're going to have to rejig all of our, which is fine, but rejig all of the arrangements and everything right with everyone. Is he just mad he's going to be in a coffin?
No, just that. Well, going from the guide's reaction,
yeah,
they feel that he's basically the death sentence for him to be, for Tarquin to be in that state in that environment. And that's the words of the GM. I do wonder if we should re-examine that.
What would that look like?
This means we'd delay for a couple more. Would delay for 4 more days.
4 more days. Would that be a hassle to rearrange?
I think. We could talk to the guides more and ascertain exactly, get a better view on that, shall we?
Yeah.
And what they mean. I suspect for Neathanol, Leif, and Karios, the motivation to get our mitts on Irene might be considerable, right? What do you think?
Well, Leif's not a vengeful person, really.
All right, Neathanol is.
Yeah.
Karios is becoming somewhat.
Nathan would be keen to kill her to remove her as a threat, but also that's countered by she is a threat.
Neathanol would like to just kill her.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose Tarquin though. Yeah, let's talk to the guides. Go back and chat to them.
So on the way out from leaving Old Man Tilia's house, what do you say as you're heading back carrying Tarquin's coffin as he's kind of propped up on his pillows?
Just say, look, we're concerned about taking our friend in this condition. Would you mind expanding on your concerns? Talk a little bit more about the terrain and what this means for us to carry the person in a stretcher. Obviously, we plan on, we're not going to leave him alone. But if we come into combat, we'll have to put him down, obviously. We will have to carry him, but, he could still be conscious and still cast spells. But can you outlay some of your concerns?
Certainly, Master. Pashkit says, as you're walking back, by the way, I hope you found the information that you were provided by Old Man Tilia of use. I hope that is useful for you. And so,
I assume at this point we can't remember.
sorry, what was that, Pete?
I assume at this point we can't remember.
Yes, correct. Yes, good point. You walk outside the house, good point, and it's a blank. You remember walking inside, and you remember the cup of tea with him, and you remember the conversation, but everything from the ritual onwards is a complete blank. So Pashket kind of realizes, oh, actually, maybe that, and then he kind of takes it back, and yes, actually, no, you wouldn't have remembered a thing, he says. Or the GM says. He says to you, regarding your friend, and he looks up at Tarquin in the coffin, we are going to ruins. We'll arrive in the ruins of Port Vestilis. There are broken walls, broken buildings. The roads are relatively clear, but there is creeper and jungle and things to avoid, things to climb over, things to move. We will take the river road, unless it's flooded. We'll take the river road north to the Sea of Fire. On the way, we will be attacked. Without question, I'm sure we'll be attacked in Port Vestilis. If not during the day, soon after, I would imagine. There may be tree trunks to cross, there may be parts of the swamp that have encroached on the ground. If you think you can manage your friend, good sir, and he looks up at Tarquin, that is absolutely your decision. When we are attacked, there will be horrible things. I've described the twice living to you already, but there are other things. In the Green Festa, the Great Festa, things that I don't have names for, that come out of the blackness. And how hard it would be to evade them, carrying a person in a box or on a stretcher, it depends on what comes for us. There are also more terrestrial creatures to give consideration to. There are, of course, ghoul-cats and gas mouths and crocodiles and other such things. Those are perhaps more easily dealt with. I guess if you think that if you're certain that your friends will recover, well, that is certainly one thing. There may be barriers, there may not be barriers that you may have to carry your friend over or through. But you will be heavily laden with nearly 50 pounds of food and water and rations. It is ultimately your decision. Of course, all of this is your decision. We merely provide advice and guidance of where to go and lend a hand with these. And he taps the falchion, the sword at his side, where we need to save our lives or at a pinch to save yours. It's your decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's sure. I mean, you know,
GM's just getting a drink. Yep.
I suppose we can always float.
We can. I mean, what's the concern with the other party?
Oh, well, just them getting there first.
If they get there first, get the sword, and we meet them on the way back, no problem.
I don't know. I just don't know. You know.
So, like, the longer they're there, the more their numbers will be whittled down.
I don't know if Chris will do that, will he? I mean, that's logical, but
Who's Chris? Chris doesn't exist.
MC Chance. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if I have any bearing whatsoever. But why don't we think on it?
Yeah. What's 4 days?
It's actually a little bit more longer than 4 days, to be honest. Today
Is
is yep. So today is the 4th when you've just met. So meeting with Old Man Tilia and going through that ritual took you up until about early afternoon on the 4th. Tarquin will, he has said at least, Tarquin will be healed in a week's time on the 11th.
7 days, not 4 days.
I don't know what to do.
Whatever happens, the GM would be keen for to move the story forward a little bit today. So I'd be keen to for you guys to make a decision today, whatever you want to do.
Well, I think probably the risk is probably more Tarquin's than us, right? Because there will be times when we will just have to drop him.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. We're going to get attacked. We're going to have to drop the thing. So there's risk there, and it's probably more risk for him.
So he should make the call.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Question, Chris, if someone who is paralyzed fly?
If they can cast a spell, the effects of the spell can they can. I'm determining it's the head that allows the person to be controlled. And at this stage, the one thing that Tarquin has complete agency over is his head. He can think, he can cast spells, and he can move his head from side to side. That's the only thing he can do.
So, but the thoughts are intact, and so that's where the control of the fly spell. I mean, if someone casts fly on him,
Yes,
he can move around.
correct.
Yep.
I'd have to give some thought on that, but at this stage, yes.
Or at least he can get himself up in the air away from potential dangers, move around it. Yeah.
Again, going back to what I said about checking out some of the very interesting episodes that he and I have that Giles and I have just done separately, he has done something similar, and I allowed it then, so I'd have to continue with that precedent to allow it now.
So I mean, that's the thing. At the moment, if there's an immediate danger, we can fly him.
Yeah.
You know, especially if Karios does that, and she doesn't need to prep. So basically, she casts an instantaneous spell on him, and he could be flying around after we note danger.
I would. There's a caveat on that. There is a caveat on that actually. The caveat is the spell he casts in a previous episode wasn't a fly spell. It was a teleportation spell. A fly spell would allow you to perhaps, and I'm thinking literally, pardon the pun, but on the fly here, the fly spell would allow the spell to be cast. His ability to control it, I think, would be severely limited with being like really badly limited. He may crash into trees, he may crash into something else because he can't see what the hell he's doing as flying, right? So he would have severe penalties on moving himself around, but could he cast a fly spell? He probably could. His ability to maneuver himself would not be good or graceful, or it would have severe penalties on it. I'd have to think what those penalties would be.
I mean, he could even if he was just to get himself up off using the fly spell, fly himself up off the ground and hold position in mid-air, so he's not having to maneuver too much. He just rotates as the spell dictates. That wouldn't be too demanding, right?
I don't know. I suspect probably not. But moving around would be, definitely.
It's moving at 75 foot per round to try and catch up with the party or whatever through forest or walk through whatever.
That should be possible.
You use your body to sort of counterweight your fly in your direction, but just holding, like essentially levitating.
Just levitation should be relatively, I would say, should be relatively easy. Yeah. So, what's the decision, guys?
I think it's up to him. I think I think it's up to him.
Agree.
I'm happy to go with him and carry him, but there's going to be risk. I think you're right. We can get him up in the air, at least levitating, if nothing else. We can float him, push him along past, obstacles. We've got to. Yeah, so it's more that there's a risk that he might get dumped. He might get, I don't know. He's unable to defend himself, so he's relying on us. So I think it should be his call.
You need an answer now, Chris? GM?
I really would, because...
Do you want me to text him? I'll text him and ask him.
Yeah, yep. Okay.
I reckon he was keen to come. He didn't say, I don't want to come because I'm going to get eaten by mosquitoes when you leave me in a swamp.
Okay.
He was... Yeah, let me text him.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or thoughts while Karios' player is very helpfully doing that? Anything else we need to talk about?
I assume we've taken stock of what clothing we need. We would have checked with our guides, advise us on what clothing is best for the missions we're going to be in.
Something you don't mind getting a bit of mud on is the answer. Sorry. Yeah, go, Graham.
They advise taking a change of clothes, for a case we want a night out or something. No, I mean in terms of, I'm just thinking of taking anything out we don't need. Is there much point taking a second change of clothes? Do they do that? Probably not.
No. They end up in rags by the end of the trip. They come back and... they're typically not in good shape when they come back.
Question is, can we leave stuff at Myrna's place?
Yes.
So leave our good clothes here, leave anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Myrna's very happy to do that. Very happy to.
Yeah, may as well do that.
Alex, any response back, bearing in mind you just texted them, or maybe in the middle of texting him, any response back from Giles?
No, so I've done it to our channel and I'll send it to his personal phone as well. I feel like he was good to go. Like he didn't bring up, should we wait till I'm better?
He did.
Did he?
In our chat earlier on, he said, "Let it will become completely well in 7 days," was his message.
Oh, I nearly sent that to you, Graham. Giles. I'm sending it to his personal number now as well.
Thanks, Alex.
It's alright. I agree with Graham. I think it does need to be his call. It's his character. Okay. And if he's going to get eaten by mosquitoes, I mean, he can...
Mosquitoes the last thing that we need to worry about.
It'll be the thing that does him in, if he can float and if he can essentially fly up and just hover and not do too much, and if we can defend him with swords. But snakes, crocodiles, something's going to crawl out while we've dumped him by a tree.
Yeah.
It probably will be the...
Yeah.
I think we should wait for him. It's his character, and he's just been through something pretty hairy. I wouldn't want to put anyone in that position where somebody else has made that decision.
Well,
Because we can. Hey.
Put it on the chat, right?
Yep. And I've texted him, but he's obviously doing something.
One way around this, and the storyteller in me kind of balks at this a little bit, but one way around this is we could have a, where's my camera? We could do a that, we could do a that or a that. We could either say that we move the game forward a little bit at least, get us to the next stage, and Giles can tell us in the intervening time whether or not he's in a box when he gets there, or whether or not he's standing on his own 2 feet.
Yeah.
In terms of I agree. In terms of storytelling, is the bit we're moving on to going to matter if it's 7 days later to you?
Possibly.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't matter to me because I don't exist. It actually doesn't matter to you guys, is the question.
Stop that.
Well, I don't think we can get into any situation in which, if it's simply getting to Tarek and having a description of what we find there, then that's the same either way.
Okay.
But it's if we have to react to a situation there, then we'd need to know. Then we I think personally would have to stop.
All right.
Because that's at that point the state Tarquin was in. Either way, we're taking a stretcher with our packs on it, but whether that's also got, so.
All right.
Does that make sense?
It does. All right. So to move things on a little bit and to make things what I'm going to, for our viewers' benefit and our own benefit, I'm going to say some time passes. It's either a few days or quite a number of days, and we'll wait and hear exactly what that is. But in a few days' time, you wake early in the morning with your guides who have prepared and supply you with food and all the equipment that you've been under discussion with. You have Tahoe with you, who is looking slightly less nervous now. He's got a short sword at his side. The others, by the way, have, just out of interest, in terms of weaponry, I've already mentioned they're pretty doughty falchions. The other two definitely have bows, composite bows, short bows, and Tahoe himself, this rather nervous-looking carpenter, does have, actually it's a falchion at his side as well. He does have quite a selection of carpentry tools. He's quite burdened with a couple of saws, chisels, mallet, hammer, some nails, and various other carpentry pieces of paraphernalia. He has quite a lot of kit with him and is relatively burdened down in addition to his own packs, etc. You all meet at the safe house, and Myrna is there to your somewhat strange guide is there to see you off, and Myrna takes you from here, and along with your three guides and the equipment, and the kit is heavy, right? It's nearly 50 pounds of weight, and you travel through the soggy streets of Landania, on your way to a place that you have yet to visit, an old decrepit, but one of the most one of the largest and most grand buildings in all of Tarek Nev. It's falling down and covered with vine and creeper and all the rest. But you go inside, and eventually, with some quiet words by Myrna, and again, she surprises you, this woman. She comes across as quite absent-minded and a little bit harebrained, but when she needs to, she pulls it together. And coming up and speaking to I've just seen that a new player has just joined. Giles, are you back with us? Hello, Giles? No? Okay. Maybe not. Maybe... No. Hello? Trying to speak. Can't speak. Okay. Coming into this room here, in this old decrepit building covered with creeper and vines and all the rest. And there are a collection of soldiers standing around, as you can see, and they're wearing the same kind of decrepit equipment and poor quality equipment that the people that dropped Tarquin off were wearing. Myrna has a quiet word to them, and you each go up, and either Tarquin's carried on the stretcher, which you now have a stretcher, and you touch the wall of the stone, and each of you says out loud, I require a navigator. And there's a hum, and a pause, and then this noise. And this man, out of thin air, arrives and is standing in this room. He and your guide, Myrna, have a quiet conversation, and each of you are indicated and pointed out by Myrna along with all your equipment. The man nods and turns back to you and says, I'll agree to the travel, I'll agree to where you're wishing to go, and I will make it happen, but I will not go with you myself. Are you ready? He says, and turns to all of your characters. And I need to hear you vocalize. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Hello, Karios. Hello, Karios. Off, on again, off. Hello. Oh goodness, not having much luck with technology today. You can hear us, but we can't hear you. I'm going to take that as a yes. I'm going to take that as a yes. You each put your hands up, and there is this flash of light and heat and unpleasantness. And suddenly, as you've experienced previously traveling down to Kaltaimon, the free city of Landania is no more. The surroundings that you've come to know quite well are no more, and suddenly you're in a very, very different place. It's full of flies, it's hot, sweaty, it's sweltering, and this is what you see. A stone black column inside the ruins of a festering, fetid swamp. There is the distant sounds of water close to you, some way off perhaps, Insects are biting you constantly, even the very second you arrive. Some of you vomit and are unwell from the horrendous jolt that you've taken. But all of you, right here, right now, have found yourselves by a navigator's column in the ruins, Port Distillis, in the rotten heart of the Alamang, the Green Festa. And that is where we'll leave it for today.
Yay!
Lovely.
That was the insect repellent. Time to stink.
Slap it on. Slip, slap, slop.
Feels like a holiday.
You guys, isn't it? Lovely.
Tropical location, guys.
Yeah. Let's pull out the bed sheets, the bed stuff. And yeah, let's take it all in.